It offends me. It legitimately offends me how easy that was to make. But you're right. But you're right. It fucking slaps, man. Dude. That track does slap, and it works on a loop.
It does. I'm serious. Just if that music followed me, playing from the sky, like throughout my life, just on a constant
and there's
loop.
different sections that make sense in different spots. Like I said, that last chunk is like, I just punched out of work and it's Friday. Down, 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 down. Oh god. Yeah. Fuck the world, man. Baby. It's Friday. I just punched out. I used to have a day job. I remember what it's like. I write music for the people.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Did you know Bruce Springsteen, all those songs about working in a factory, he never once actually worked a 9-to-5 job?
Sure.
He was a musician from his teenage years to adulthood, but all his songs...
Doesn't surprise me. I didn't
because
know
his
that, but
dad
it
worked in a
surprise
factory.
Me. Sure. Yep.
So he just wrote songs that he thought his dad could relate to.
Right. Wow, there's a lot of Freud shit going on there, actually, man. Like,
yeah, except I don't think he wanted to fuck his dad.
No. Well, that would be no. He would want to kill his dad. He'd want to kill his dad and fuck his mom.
Oh,
it's
you're
all
right.
Oedipus.
You're right.
Shit, but.
No, you're right. I mistook that. Sorry.
But yeah, there was definitely.
I agree. By the way, Kyle,
complex.
Kyle, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Sorry, where's my camera? This is my camera. I'm with you, Kyle. Let's go Rams.
Oh yeah, I was saying to you, in the in between, if the Chiefs would have won the last game, I was going to pick the Niners in this game. Since the Bengals won in overtime, I am picking the Rams.
Picking or rooting for?
Picking, not rooting for. Honestly,
but how does the result of one game?
Something about the Rams I don't like. Like, I don't know.
I said this at the beginning of the last podcast because now it's a different show. We completely started from scratch. Like we didn't just change the title in JPEG. Like no. Right. Like we're on a completely different show. So on the last episode we did earlier today, I started off that one saying, actually I think it was before we actually started it. I said I got buddies who like are in the know, you know, guys in the NFL basically is what I'm saying. Whether they're players or on staff, I'm holding those cards close to the vest on purpose.
Yep.
All year long, not in the playoffs. Way early in the season, were telling me, dude, this fucking Niners team is scary. And I laughed, and a lot of other people laughed. And they're not even on the Niners staff. That's what I'm going to leave it at that. And they were like, dude, this fucking Niners team is scary. But what I did say on the or whatever today is that there's something that bugs me about this game because as much as I want to see Stafford go to and win the Super Bowl because I'm a huge Stafford fan, the Niners kind of have the Rams number.
Agreed.
And it fucking bothers me.
Agreed.
It bothers me because it seems to be almost universal. Like both sides of the football, like talent, scheme, play calling, everything.
Yep. No, I agree. The only thing I root for on the Rams is Stafford.
Yep.
Like other than Stafford, I don't really care for anything the Rams have going on from like a fan standpoint. That's not to say that I don't admire or respect or appreciate their ability levels, especially when we're talking about like an Aaron Donald, who's arguably the greatest player to ever play his position.
Well, and I don't want to sound at the risk of...
Or what Cooper Kupp's doing this year. Like, I mean, I respect all that. You know,
at the
Jalen
risk of
Ramsey.
sounding dramatic, my reputation is kind of on the line, right? Because a couple of years ago when we started the podcast and you and Anwar sat here, I said with attitude and conviction that Matthew Stafford is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL.
Sure.
And I said, if he can get out of Detroit and go to somewhere like in LA, I actually said, and I was talking about the Rams, not the Chargers, or a New England, because they didn't have Mac Jones yet. I said, this guy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And here we are. So,
Yep,
like I said,
there
like
he
I'm
is.
really rooting for Matt Stafford,
There he is, absolutely.
because at the risk of sounding dramatic, like, you know, we do these podcasts and we put these things on record on purpose because it's about credibility.
Yes.
Right? The whole stat we started out with is we are regularly more accurate than the professional pundits, but
Nice job, Randy.
they have a job making millions of dollars, and here we are sitting over here.
Yep.
So we wanted to start a podcast. We wanted to start some sort of sports show where we could start putting our predictions and scouting and all that. We wanted to put that on the line so we could prove with validity that we know what we're talking about.
Exactly. Yep. I could have finished that sentence for you. That word for word, I could have finished that sentence for you.
Well, and it makes sense because we literally like did a whole podcast on this exact idea like way long ago. And this is just kind of funny because this is kind of the culmination. And, you know, somebody asked me at the beginning of the season last year, it was during our podcast, so who's your Super Bowl prick? And I said, I'm telling you right now, I'm picking Tom Brady and I'm picking Patrick Mahomes, and I'm going I'm going Tom Brady over Patrick Mahomes. And I know that sounds like the easy pick to make right now, but I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, and I was right.
Mm-hmm.
And this year I said Kansas City and LA. And I'm one team short so far.
Yep.
Maybe I'm both teams short. Maybe I'm completely 100% wrong. But at least both my predictions made it into the championship games.
For sure. When it comes to
because I don't think anybody picked the Bengals fans.
No,
maybe they did.
No,
maybe
exactly,
they did.
Exactly.
But I don't think anybody else picked the Bengals to be in the Super Bowl.
For me, when it comes to all of my predictions, which I've been doing for years now, just for my own freaking mental therapy, you know, stress relief or whatever, you know, just because I think it's fun, I'm interested in it. Like I always try to revisit them more than once, and as the years pass, to try to learn more, you know, and just get better at it and just have a better comprehension of everything, you know, like that's just my own personal desires or whatever. And like one thing I've noticed a lot is that like in my predictions, a lot of standings for regular season and even records will be like scary accurate with like one little section over here that's off and one section over here that's off. But then when it comes to my Super Bowl predictions, those guys almost always lose in the conference championship or the second round. Like they're always in the playoffs, but they almost always lose in round 2 or in the conference championship for whatever reason. They just don't make it all the way.
I know what you mean.
You know, and so then like years, you know, then when I try to re-examine stuff later too, I try to, you know, well, what happened, why? And a lot of times it really is just as simple as, you know, team I was on wasn't as healthy as other comparable team that they ran up against at the time, you know, and how do you project that or foresee that, you know, or something along those lines. And so then, you know, so then it becomes not how to foresee that, but how to incorporate the possibility of that into our projecting in the ingredients that we use to make our projections. You know, and so that's just that's kind of the main thing I focus on and trying to get better from year to year is just like figuring out those X factors of like, how do you quantify how much risk a team or a player at a key position is at of injury, or how likely or unlikely their special teams are, coaching staff is to be any good. Like, you know, there's the things that are harder to look at than just who's got a good quarterback and who doesn't, or who's got good defensive players and who doesn't, you know, that still result in who ultimately is successful and not. Because no matter what anybody wants to believe or is sold, the difference between the 5th worst team in football and at worst the 2nd best team in football is one season.
Oh,
that's what the Bengals just did today. That's what the Bengals just did today.
True.
They went from the 5th worst team in the league to at worst the 2nd best.
And literally this happens almost every season.
Yep.
That's why
or
when
at
we
least
started,
to some degree, to
so
some
we
extent.
didn't really do these this
Maybe
season.
not all the way to the bowl, but to some extent.
In case anybody's confused, we didn't really do the football frenzy thing this season because I had a lot of family shit going on. My dad had an aneurysm and a stroke, and I had to take over a bunch of responsibilities and adjust my schedule and figure out how to balance all this new lifestyle, blah, 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 blah. But the year before last, we did this. And that's one of the questions I posed to you. And that's one of the questions I posed to you. As I said and asked, who's the team who wasn't in the playoffs last year and is going to be in this year? Because this happens every season.
Didn't I say the Cardinals?
I don't remember. I'm not trying to call you out or anything.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, that's kind of what you're describing this year, is the Bengals, who were a shit team last year and not only made the playoffs, but are in the Super Bowl now.
Yeah. Yep.
Dude, Cincinnati is going nuts right now.
And that's the thing, you know, like with just talking about predictions and stuff too. Like, while I've noticed one thing that I regularly am off on is my Super Bowl picks. That's another thing that I'm regularly pretty on, and I feel like you are too, and I feel like Anwar is too, is our preseason surprise teams or most improved, keep an eye on teams. Like these...
Give me a minute, guys. I got to fix this graphic.
We'll each pick a team from a conference, that we think is going to exceed the general consensus's expectations. And for the most part, all three of us are consistently really good at that element. And I believe that the Cardinals were my top choice for that this year, which I was, pretty right on. But I think I don't know about the AFC. I definitely didn't pick the Patriots to do as good as they did. Well, I might only been off on them by like a game or two. Bengals I was way off on. I thought they'd be last place in that super tough division. Because no joke, that AFC North is a tough division. All four teams are decent or good with the Ravens and the Steelers and the Browns. Like, none of them are chumps. None of them are bottom dwellers. There are no bottom dwellers in the AFC North division. Whereas like in the AFC South, you've almost always got at least two, if not three.
No, you're right. You're right. And it's weird though, because a lot of times divisions
and the West
go
is
those.
the same way.
Yep.
The West, there's no chumps in that either. Seattle
now,
is,
but there was a time where it was a joke of the NFL.
Absolutely, 100%. Yep.
And that's why I get frustrated with people who criticize the Vikings, because they don't understand how to criticize the Vikings, right? They say things like the Vikings suck. The Vikings never do anything.
Yes.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Yep.
The Vikings are historically average.
Yes. Or
they don't suck.
Or slightly above average, but like, the best of the lousiest of the best.
Right. Right. And why I say historically average is because if somebody were to look at the record, they might make an argument this, that, or the other thing. But really, at the end of the day, it's peaks and valleys. It's once every 10 years the Vikings go to the NFC Championship and they lose.
Yep. Yeah, in my lifetime, I've never seen the Vikings go to a Super Bowl. I've seen them go to NFC Championship.
No one has, unless you're old as shit. I'm just saying, bro. Like, fuck, man.
Oh, that's great.
I mean, my dad barely remembers it. He was a child when it happened. I'm almost 40 years old. What is this?
I am 40 years old, exactly.
This is too much, babe.
Oh, dessert.
Brownies?
Oh my gosh. Oh, hey.
Brownies?
I got to finish this off yet here.
We haven't gotten Fat Kid enough. We needed brownies. I'm not ungrateful. I'm just my desire to gain weight has gone a step further than anticipated.
By far the best NFL Sunday of the season for me this year.
I'm glad to hear that, buddy.
That's another commonality. Other than the kickers that are reliable, commonality is all four of these teams in the Final Four. Well, actually, no, it's not. Never mind. Completely scratch that. The Bengals are an exception to the general rule. Their offensive line stinks.
Whoops. That's not what I meant
And
to do. Sorry, guys.
their offensive line is not on the normal caliber of a Super Bowl offensive line.
The
They are
Bengals?
the exception. Yeah. Yep, they are the exception. They do not.
Jimmy G with the overthrow. How you going to do that, Jimmy G?
But I do think that when you have really evasive mobile quarterbacks like a Pat Mahomes or a Joe Burrow, that being a weakness becomes less significant. You know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's an argument to be made for and against that. So the argument for it is 2-3 years ago when Mahomes won the Super Bowl, the shit O-line. The argument against it is exactly last year and this year when he just lost it. Right? So
yeah, it's hard to really figure out an answer, but just acknowledging is a possibility.
it's crazy how much of this game comes down to personalities and chemistry. It's not just about talent.
It
It's really not.
It isn't. It is because you think of these, you think of sports as just contests of skill and ability, where almost all the time the better, more impressive of the two competing sides comes out victorious. But what we also need to factor in is that this is not individual contests between individuals. These are team endeavors, okay? And in
football is the
any walk
ultimate
of
team
life,
sport.
whether we're talking about sports, whether we're talking about bands, whether we're talking about small startup companies or whatever, like teams, okay? Team chemistry is always an ingredient or a factor in a successful team. You cannot be a championship level team without at least, a respectable amount of chemistry. Okay? You can maybe be a survivable team with little chemistry, but you can't be the top team. You can't reach the pinnacle of your line of work, whatever it is, if it's team based without some, semblance of cohesive chemistry.
Bro, there's a layer of Oreo in this shit.
Oh my god.
It's like
Oh my
brownie.
God.
It's like brownie, Oreo, cookie. This is not a joke. This is a real thing. I don't even think I can show this to the camera properly. It's brownie on the bottom, Oreo in the middle, cookie on top. This is insane. I was wondering why it tasted so different.
All right, I got to get to that now.
Now, look.
That's amazing.
It's brownie, Oreo, cookie. It's fucking insane, dude.
First quarter, 12:25 remaining, 0-0. First and 10. Rams ball at the 33. Stafford takes a snap. Hand up the middle. Gain of about 2.5 for Cam Akers, who almost fumbled this game away last week. Without his fumbling last week against the Bucs, it's not even possible for the Bucs to make that a game at the end there. So I was a little curious to see if he'd be in the doghouse, if Sony Michel would maybe get a few more carries this week.
If I were Sean McVay, I would be running these running backs on a rotation, and I would be running 2 running plays for every passing play in this game. Until it's the fourth quarter and the game's on the line, and then I'm putting it in Stafford's hands. And I'm literally ratioing, like I'm serious. If I'm head coach, I'm ratioing my OC, and I'm saying, listen, you have to do it this way. I want the ball in Stafford's hands in the fourth quarter if we're down. But until then, and I don't care how the game goes, 28-3 at halftime, keep running the football. Like literally do that.
Keep him on the field.
It just belligerently.
Don't let the 49ers just pin their ears back and try to kill him too many times.
And just belligerently tire out the San Francisco 49ers defense. Like, just belligerently.
I think
Jim Harbaugh style. Just relentlessly run the football until they crack.
I think a reception and yak-based slot receiver like Cooper Kupp really helps make that type of approach or game plan possible to execute as well, too. You know, where you can use him almost as a running back. It's just instead of handing the ball a couple yards behind you to him, you throw the ball a couple yards in front of you to him.
Sure.
You know, but I mean, it basically is the same difference. Where there's low risk, you know, but respectable floor and high ceiling because dude can break tackles. So,
well, shout out to Super Dave being born 45 minutes from Cincy, man. Your team's going to the Super Bowl, bro.
Hell yeah! Congratulations, Super Dave. I loved watching you do stunts on Letterman in the 90s and shit. That's you, right? That's awesome, man. That's fucking awesome.
What's funny is there's a very good chance Super Dave booked your band.
Awesome, yeah,
there's a very good chance Super Dave booked your band.
I would say likely.
I would say 75% chance Super Dave booked your band.
No, these brownies are the bomb. Try not to chew in the microphone.
Kettering, Ohio.
God, so this is what it feels like to be common man. Just say whatever comes to your head that might be or might not be sports related into a microphone.
A little bit.
Eat your lunch while you do it.
A little bit. Oh, see? What did I say? Run the fucking football.
Akers. Well, we definitely want to establish his confidence early if we're the Rams.
I'm not. Fuck Akers.
You know?
Fuck Akers. No, I'm saying committee of running backs relentlessly and belligerently run this football between the tackles. Eliminate. Is Joey Bosa healthy?
I think so.
Is he in this game? Let's look. I don't see him. No, he can't be healthy.
Probably not.
No, I think he got injured last week. I think he's out.
That might be. Yeah, I might have seen that.
Yeah. So just run this belligerently between the tackles. Because honestly, I would still suggest running between the tackles.
Well, and just
because even if Bosa is in the game, the whole point is to eliminate him as a threat from the outside.
Right.
And so you bring everything to the inside. And yeah, you're not going to do well at the beginning of the game. You're kind of conceding the battle for the war because the idea is that it's a battle of attrition.
Well, and
with your committee of running backs, by the time the third quarter rolls around, deep into the third quarter, you're going to have a committee that is still fresh, and they're going to have a defense that's completely broken.
Yep. Well, and the main reason that I just bring up Akers' confidence and his fumbling last week, giving the Bucs a chance to win it, which ultimately they didn't, is just that, I mean, he's only a second-year player, and he missed basically the entire season this season with injury and just came back to the Rams like 1 or 2 weeks ago.
I'm just saying, man, listen, I'm making it simple. Stafford, if you put the whole game in his hands, if you don't run the football effectively, you're going to ruin this guy.
Right.
I watched the Vikings play against him twice a year for his entire career. Don't put the entire game on his shoulders.
Yep.
Only put the end of the game on.
Yep.
Like, this guy will absolutely dagger your entire...
Oh, snap!
See? What did I fucking say?
There's Stafford with a huge interception.
That wasn't even him. That was a tip ball.
Well,
that was a shit catch. But
Stafford throws the interception.
But this is what I'm saying. You run the football early in the football. I'm telling you, to win with Stafford, it's simple. Run the football for 3 quarters, put the game on his shoulders in the 4th. Don't do this.
Real nice deflection by number 24.
Don't
Great play by number 24.
This is why I think Sean McVay's overrated, dude.
I do think Sean McVay's a little bit overrated. I'm actually a really big fan of Kyle Shanahan as a coach.
I'm not sure how I feel about either of these fucks. Or,
I do,
or LaFleur.
I don't trust Kyle Shanahan in big moments.
Any of the young, pretty coaches, I'm
but I
not
think he's
sure
smart
how I
as hell.
feel about them. Any of the young, really good-looking dudes, I'm not sure how I feel about any of them.
I just don't trust Kyle's clutch because, like, there's no reason that frickin' Mahomes should have came back on him and won that Super Bowl 2 years ago. Like, Niners had that game in hand with 10 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. And then they just stopped doing everything that they had been doing successfully.
I'm waiting for Tony Romo to decide to be a coach.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
That's the guy. Peyton Manning, he would be an amazing coach. Because you don't have to be a great player to be a great coach.
Agreed.
You have to be able to understand and explain football to everyone. And then you also have to be like a great eye for talent. So that's where that matters more than players is assembling your coaching staff. But then the biggest thing is you have to be able to relate to people. You got to be kind of an everyman, you know?
Well, I think that's
especially nowadays, you know, when you have like legitimate mixed cultures, you have
for sure.
You have dudes
more
who are
relevant than ever.
You have guys who are Islamic, you have guys who are Christian, you have guys who are like straight up like black, like American black, like hood black, right? Where black's a culture, it's more than just a skin tone, right? And then you have other guys who are like, you know, I may be black, but I'm just like the white guys. And then you have white guys who are like, I don't understand that black stuff. You have to be able to relate to all of those dudes. Exactly. Now there's gay dudes in the NFL. Well, there's always been gay dudes in the NFL, but now there's open gay dudes in the NFL. Like you have to be able to understand and manage all of these people and get all of these people, 50 to 70 people, headed in one direction, unified. That's true bona fide leadership, man. Being a coach in the NFL is one of the hardest things to do that I think is one of the most criticized. We criticize them like weathermen. You know what I mean?
Just another example though of how impactful chemistry is in the results.
Oh, that's what I was getting at earlier.
You know?
That's what I was getting at earlier, dude. It's so much about chemistry. It's not just about talent. It's not.
Oh, snap.
There's so much.
Oh, damn, dude. How's that not a penalty?
That should be a penalty, but it won't be. No, it's so much about chemistry, dude.
Dude, he headbutted him in the head and he blocked him from behind. Pick a penalty.
Oh.
No, for me, this is kind of a weird game where, like, I want to cheer for Stafford, but from a team standpoint, I like the Niners more than I like the Rams. You know, like, I don't know.
I hate the Niners.
There's something about the team. The Niners are more my type of team.
No, I hate the Niners, dude.
Like,
I hate both these teams, but I'm such a fan of Stafford.
I really like that the Niners have a good offensive line, a good to great offensive line. I like that they have a balanced offense where running isn't forgotten about. I like that they don't need one of the 5 best, most mobile, highest paid quarterbacks in the league to win games year after year. I like that they've always got a good defense. Like, just, I don't know. I like the type of team they are, you know.
Say what you will about Jimmy G, but his footwork's his footwork's always sound, and he produces wins. And he's already been to a Super Bowl. People want to talk a lot of shit about Jimmy G, but he already led him to a Super Bowl once, and he's on the precipice of a second Super Bowl appearance.
Jimmy G almost never makes a mistake that is the difference between a win and a loss. You know, people get caught up in that he's not a part of a lot of plays that get his team the win.
But again, this goes directly to what we were just talking about.
Who cares?
If you talk to people,
a win's a win.
If you talk to people in the deal, Okay.
Yep.
They're like, listen, Jimmy is insanely charismatic.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think you understand, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jimmy, I don't care who you are. You could be the burlap dude who wants to go be a lumberjack, like fucking Stipe Miocic, and go be a volunteer firefighter in the offseason. You love Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
You could be an OG Marshawn Lynch motherfucker from the hood.
Yep.
And you love Jimmy G.
Yep.
Everybody loves Jimmy G.
Yep.
That is what I'm talking. That's some Brett Favre level shit right there, dude.
So if we could simply figure out how to quantify football team chemistry, we could pretty much nail predictions. With
chemistry only takes you so far,
you know.
But all I'm saying is it's more than just talent. It's more than just scheme.
How to quantify it, and then how to quantify it into the formula.
Okay, here's how I would do it. Here's how I would do it. There's offense, there's defense, and there's special teams, right?
Yep, of course. Yep.
Special teams is that weird thing you have a hard time quantifying. Okay,
a little bit. I mean, you can look at one team's roster and go, "Oh, your kicker's better than that team's kicker."
Sure, exactly. That's about it, right? Simple terms.
Yes,
Keeping it simple, right?
Yes.
Okay, so here's how you got talent, you got scheme, and you got chemistry. Chemistry is the special teams of those three deals.
Ooh, I like it.
It's the hardest thing to quantify. You can.
I really like this.
You can be like, man,
though.
I really see how the Seahawks are gelling this year.
I really like that as a new way of looking at the three phases. You know, instead of being offense, defense, special teams, it's chemistry, talent,
and scheme.
Yep, exactly.
Because when those three things are gelling, it's the same equivalent of offense, defense, and special teams. It's just offense, defense, and special teams are only one part of this trifecta.
Right.
That's just one of the trifectas.
Right. Exactly.
That means chemistry you could break into three separate categories.
No, you get it. I get it.
But do the listeners get it?
This is great.
But do the listeners get it?
They don't have to get it.
We're not alone.
They don't have to get it
Explain
right now. They don't have to get it right now.
But this gives us more content to break down.
They just have to want to get it or be open to getting it.
I'm going to give you your pick. Now listen.
I don't know if I can handle a second one here. I don't know.
If you're going to bitch out, that's fine. But we got a whole football game to go.
Or at least wait till halftime, maybe.
All right. Well, pick
for
one.
Me.
Pick one, because I'm going to light one.
Well, I went dark before, so if I do a second one.
All right. So these are basically the same cigar. Okay. Now the difference is this one you picked, the Ligero. Okay. Ligero. I think they say it a different way, but whatever. We're
Ligero?
We're Liero. I don't fucking know. We're American, goddammit. Here's the thing. That's the prime. That means it's like the best of the best. So it's like not only their best tobacco, but it's the top leaf.
Sure.
Which gets the most sun. You know what I mean? So it's like the best. So that's what whenever you see Ligero or Liero or Ligero, whatever the fuck.
I don't know.
These are basically the same cigar. This is just the darker version.
Ligero?
Something like that. When you're ready to fire it up, let me know.
That's what it looks like to me, would be Ligero.
This one's super dope, though, because if you look, it's got like a fabric wrap.
Oh, sure.
It's not even paper. You see that? You can see it's like threaded. Yeah, these are my favorite cigars, dude. These in the Marco V I smoked with you earlier.
Well, the first one was fantastic.
I got one of them left. I got one of them Marco V Palladiums left. That's in the secret stash down there, baby. Romo's getting $17 million to announce he ain't coaching anytime soon.
Right?
Yeah, right. Dave, you might be right. It depends on how competitive he is.
You're not
because he never won. He never won a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl as a player. It depends on how competitive a man is.
Well,
a man will give up money to win. It's been proven multiple times.
With numbers like that, it's actually a backward step for him. He's not going to come in and get $17 million a year to coach every year on his first contract.
No,
that is not going to happen.
But he might get 6 to 8
And then,
with the ownership deal.
And then you throw in the demand and the stress of it. Like, I mean,
it depends on how competitive you are.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, if I was Romo, I wouldn't do it. I would keep living the good life. Like, no, I'm on TV once a week and I'm like crazy freaking rich.
You're not very
like,
competitive, dude.
But like,
that's not an insult. That's a fucking observation, dude.
But and I'm not about to try to disagree with you. But if the purpose of competition is to succeed and be successful, and you do not need to compete to still arrive at the destination of success, then does competitiveness really have anything to do with any of it, or is that just, you know, a separate thing in a separate situation, you know, for other stuff, for other applications and other times?
So, I don't know what the fuck you just said.
You know?
I don't know what the fuck you just said, but all I know is this.
Why compete when you have already achieved success?
It depends on how competitive you are.
But I don't even know that I'd use the word competitive then in that.
You never won a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl.
That's not competitive. That's illogical and insecure and
no, it's not.
Like sociopathic.
No, it's not.
It is.
Tell that to Michael Jordan.
That's not at all what we're talking about.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
That's not at all what I'm talking about. Excuse me.
That's
not
exactly,
at all what I'm talking about.
That's exactly what we're talking about, because my statement was it depends on how competitive you are. So if you're super competitive, like a Michael Jordan,
okay,
then you're not satisfied with making $17 million a year doing nothing and living the good life. You would be happier.
But you're not making $17 million doing nothing. You're making $17 million being one of the, if not the greatest person in the world doing what you're doing.
You're making $17. You're making
so
$17
again, how
million.
is that not winning the competition? How is that not being competitive and being at the top of what you're doing?
Because you're making $17 million a year. $17 million a year talking about other people being great. When a Michael Jordan would much rather, and granted he's an owner now, so it's kind of a weird example, but that attitude, that personality would be happier, hypothetically, making $4 million a year to be the champion that everyone's talking about.
And here's what I'm saying. If you are the type of person that being at the absolute pinnacle top of your profession and industry does not satisfy your competitive itch, you have psychological, mental, serious fucking dysfunctions. And it is not just basic measures of
Yeah, but we're not really talking about mental health. We're not talking about mental health and ego and shit. We're talking about...
Yeah, we are. When it comes to making crazy fucking decisions that make no sense.
No, we're talking about being great and how competitive people are. So if you never became a champion, and that's what it really boils down to, is Tony Romo never became an NFL Super Bowl champion as a player.
Okay.
So if he has that competitive itch that can't be scratched as a competitor, because as a commentator, you're not really competing. Right?
Okay.
You get a contract. Like, there's no dude who can show up. You don't get injured and lose your job from Sunday night football. And that's why I didn't quite
get part of the Jordan stuff, was because Jordan's a champion. Like, Jordan was already top.
And that I've been trying to say this over and over again.
That's where I wasn't.
But I have said this multiple times. Like, Romo never won a playoff game, let alone a Super Bowl.
Okay.
So it depends on how competitive you are. Because you're winning. You're making 17 mil sitting at home talking about how everybody else is great.
Yeah.
But you never won it as a player. But you're proving that you're one of the smartest commentators and NFL minds that's ever existed in modern day history. Like, the way he breaks and predicts these plays, it's insane.
And so all I'm saying is
maybe his role to be a Hall of Fame, not because who knows if he's going to be a true HOF quarterback. That may never happen.
And all I'm trying to say is,
but he could be an HOF coach.
All I'm really trying to say is, who in their right mind fucking cares about being successful at one specific little thing when they are successful at life?
Most NFL players. This is what I'm trying to explain to you,
That's
dude.
stupid. That's illogical.
No,
That's
it's
like
not.
a mental illness. You need to go to therapy and talk to people and get your fucking head right.
Maybe, but here's the thing. That's not how
Thank you.
most of
That's
these
all
guys.
I wanted was a maybe. I'm not trying to
But
argue
these
what's
guys don't
reality
operate
or
that
what the
this.
case is with other people.
Ryan Poles is a great example. Undrafted free agent. Gets signed by the Chicago Bears. Fledgling player. Okay? Dream. NFL, American dream. Right? You're already successful. Why keep competing? What the fuck are you talking about, Scott? Because that's who he is. So what did he do? Then he became when he knew he couldn't make it as a player and he wasn't going to make it to the end or he couldn't be a head coach or he couldn't do these things.
Rewind. You can't go from dude was successful and then so when dude realized he couldn't do this and couldn't do this and couldn't do this. How is he successful if he couldn't do these things?
Because by your standards, he's already won. He was undrafted. No one wanted him, but he made it to the NFL. He's already won.
No, you are drastically misinterpreting my standards. No,
he's already won.
No, he's not already making $17 million a year. He has simply got the freaking internship. You have a temporary job. That's not reaching the pinnacle. Tony Romo is currently at the pinnacle of his profession.
Of a profession.
Of his profession.
Of a profession.
Of his profession.
You and I think he's at the top of his current profession.
How is making $17 million a year doing what he's doing when other people that do what he does don't make that money not being at the top of his profession?
I would say it's the same way that just because Britney Spears made more money in 2000 whatever the fuck doesn't make her the greatest musician of that year.
But, exactly, it doesn't. But from a competition standpoint, it makes you the winner.
But this is what I'm saying.
You're talking about people's competitiveness.
But again, this is why I started saying it's not really a competition to be a commentator. Like, you get hired, you're put on a contract, like, oh yeah, you're profitable, let's keep rolling. Like, unless you fuck up or you suck, that's the only way you lose your job. Like, you either got to get Me Too'd or you have to be so bad that people stop watching. You see what I'm saying?
So you're talking about people who have an uncontrollable need to defeat another human being on a regular basis in some sort of act.
I'm talking about...
Sounds like a mental health disorder to me.
I mean, you could say that. Because a lot of people would say that Michael Jordan's mentally ill.
I maybe would too.
I'm not saying
I'm
you're
not
wrong.
saying
dude.
he is. I am not saying he is.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
I am not saying he is, and I'm not saying
you're
he
wrong.
isn't.
And I'm not saying you're wrong either.
I don't know enough to say whether he is or he isn't. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm not saying you're wrong either.
And that being said, I have to be open to the possibility of both.
And I'm not saying you're wrong either. So to go back to my initial statement, and the only thing I'm asserting here is it depends on how competitive you are.
Sure.
Right?
So absolutely. Individual.
It's the same reason. It's the same reason guys are champions in college, right? But then they take a job in the NFL.
It all comes down to that individual.
You're already a champion.
It all comes down to
champion.
that
Why do you need to go
psyche, and it's
and
all
how
case by
competitive
case.
are you?
It's all case by case.
It's this literal thing. How competitive are you? Because if you're only
so that's going to result in different things, and like there's different best results for different people,
but it
based off of what their answer to that is.
And that's exactly the truth. It's exactly the truth. So, how competitive are you? Because there's guys who are national championship coaches in college, and then they get offered NFL jobs, and they're like, no, I'm good. You're not that competitive then. Okay? Not compared to an NFL guy.
Yeah, but can you get to that level of success that you achieved in the first place 100%. Without being competitive?
Correct. But you're not as competitive as the NFL people. Because the NFL people...
But that's just what I'm saying, is there's a spectrum of competitiveness. It is not just you are competitive or you aren't competitive.
That's
because
exactly
you
what I said.
That's
choice. Exactly what my statement was. Is how competitive are you?
Okay.
Everything depends on how competitive you are.
Okay.
It's exactly what I'm saying, dude.
Okay.
It's exactly. And the most competitive people are in professional sports.
Okay, because
period.
I was inaccurately
These are guys that put their
it,
lives on the line.
I was inaccurately hearing it as a very black and white presentation of people either are or aren't competitive, and that wasn't really at all. It's I can totally grasp a spectrum of competitiveness.
Exactly. It's totally.
I get that.
And Michael Jordan is the top
and
of the top.
I don't disagree with any of that.
And I'm not convinced Michael Jordan is a healthy human being. Tiger Woods, I'm not convinced is healthy. But these are the top ends of the competitive drive.
Absolutely.
And they are also the top ends of the success spectrum.
Yep. In their fields.
Correct.
Yep.
And I'm not convinced
100%.
that being a TV commentator is a competition.
I agree with all of that.
I mean, yeah, everything's a competition, but it's not the same.
No, absolutely not, because there's no definitive way to, determine any sort of, superiority other than compensation.
Right, exactly,
and compensation is relative and discretionary, and there's all kinds of fucking
So to get back to it, the original question is, why would Tony Romo ever stop commentating to become a coach? And it depends on how competitive he is.
Because he has a need to win yet.
And he never fulfilled that as a player because he never won a playoff game and he never won a Super Bowl. But he is proven to be one of the smartest. And it's the same reason Matt Millen... It's the same reason Matt Millen went from being a fucking NFL commentator after he was a player, became an NFL commentator, and then became the GM of the fucking Lions because he's a competitor. And he wasn't satisfied. He made way more money being an NFL commentator than he did being the GM of the Lions. But he was such a fucking competitor, he lost that. Because you're not really competing against anything as a commentator. You just have to memorize your job and do your job. You're not competing. You don't have, at the end of the day, there's nobody to go measure yourself against. It's just, it's not a thing, dude.
I really like...
Sorry.
I really like where this conversation went.
I needed to make my point actually make sense.
No, and I'm glad that I understand it. But way better.
That's why I kept going with it. Because I understand why it wasn't making sense as you were... And now I feel like it actually makes sense.
And now too, I almost feel like John Madden of all people is kind of then the yang to what you were just talking about. Where like he came in, just fucking crushed everybody, had the best winning percentage of anyone all time, and went, I'm bye. I'm gonna go commentary and make more money and be
Lost
happy
his
and
will to compete.
Like I have proven anything that I feel I needed to prove to anybody about, where I stand, how smart I am, how good I am at these things. Like I've done that. And
it's the same reason, it's the same reason fucking
But he was a winner. He won championships.
It's the same reason Tom Brady didn't retire 2-3 years ago.
That's the difference. Madden did win the championships during his career and Romo didn't.
Right.
And so that's where it makes more sense that Madden wouldn't have the itch anymore, would walk away, move on to another chapter, and Romo might still have that itch.
Well, and it's the same reason.
It is very fair to speculate.
And it's the same reason Tom Brady didn't retire 2 years ago. Because if he retires 2 years ago, Tom Brady goes down as the greatest quarterback of all time. But he waited. He went and won one more Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. And now... Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings than any single franchise in its entirety, including the Patriots. So the most any organization has total is six. And Brady's got 7.
That's insane.
That's how competitive are you? That's what these things boil down to, is how competitive are you?
Sure.
And here's what it really boils down to, is what's on the line. And that does boil down to ego and survival.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if your family's on the line...
Not only what you have to gain, but what you have to lose in the instance of failure.
So if feeding your family's on the line, I bet you're going to be way more competitive than you think you are.
Absolutely.
But if your ego's on the line, if your legacy's on the line, you measure those things differently.
Sure.
But professional athletes...
Very fair.
Professional athletes, they already took care of their family. They already have millions of dollars to feed them. Right.
Yep.
So then they start thinking about themselves like kings.
At least
and
the
lords.
majority, any of the decent, competent.
But think about this. They start thinking about themselves like kings and lords and knights. They want movies and songs written about them.
Yep.
So then they start thinking about, it's no longer about survival. It's about my legacy.
Yep. Exactly. Legacy.
So these things always boil down to how competitive
getting your place in history, so that you have immortality. Like that's a human thing that I think if we're all really honest with ourselves, we can get to a point of understanding on. Absolutely.
It's the same reason you and I write music and we put it out to the public, because we have some, maybe it's not competition, but it's some egocentric version of wanting to be remembered. Because if it wasn't, then we would just keep the music to ourselves and share it with our friends and family. But we get out there and we play in front of crowds because we're fucking needy, dude. We need that love and that attention. And if we're great, we'll be remembered beyond our life. It's the same thing, same way these motherfuckers think about it, right?
For me, it's slightly different, but not without anything that you just said. Like, there's all the stuff you just said is still there too. For me, though, personally, there is still the element. Like, I think the 51% of it is the sense of purpose.
But here's the thing, though, dude. If you had the ability to just simply write music and sell it to commercials and movies and all that, and never play another show again.
Okay, I guess
you never get to play live.
Okay.
Ever again.
Okay. But
the music you write is playing in the background of this commercial right now.
And then what?
Like, you're making money, you know? You feed your family. See how boring that sounds? Did you see how quickly that turns, though, dude?
Yeah, but do you see how strongly I'm considering the decision to make yet? And
yeah,
it's not an obvious choice.
Like,
to
that's
me,
not what I'm trying to do.
It's not an obvious choice to me at all. Like,
I want to write banger songs that break people's hearts or make them say crazy shit. Like, if this song played in repeat,
yes, exactly,
I'd be down with it.
Exactly,
That's the shit
exactly.
I want
to do. Me too. But why I want to do that is because it makes me feel like there is a fucking point in me fucking being here.
Right.
That's the only reason. Not for the fucking attention, not for the butt kissing, not for the money, not for fucking anything. For that feeling inside of me that there is a fucking point to my being here.
So then why do we do it live? That's for the attention.
Because you get that. Dude, you can see the look in the eyes. You see the body language when someone's actually feeling the music. It's like, oh my God, I can see it, that what I'm doing, at least for 3.5 freaking minutes, is affecting the world in a positive way. Even if it's done when it's done. This other person is the tiniest bit happier right now, or less unhappy right now, because they're where I'm at and I'm doing what I'm doing, and they're absorbing it. Cool. Yeah. Fucking sweet. That's it. That's it for me. That's without that, I don't see the point. There's so much more to life. But like, if you get that out of it, like, then it's worth it. And that's what I've always gotten out of it, and hope to still always get out of it.
That's legit.
But, you know.
Yeah, I feel that. But I just have to admit that, like, if I wrote music and paid my bills and lived a comfortable lifestyle,
sure,
but no one knew or respected what I did, then I would not be fulfilled.
100%.
I'd still be a professional musician, but I'm not fulfilled.
I'm the same. 100%.
I just feel like I'm one of the few people in our town that actually admits these things. Like, no. I still want to do it live, because the rush and the feed of people responding to your music live, that cannot be replicated.
Exactly.
That is euphoric. And that kind of like validation that what you're doing is good.
Has a point. It's not pointless.
It's super selfish, but
all I want
touchdown Rams.
All I want is to not feel pointless. And when you're a musician playing live on a stage, it's really hard to feel like you are pointless.
Oh, we got some comments. I can see the competitor aspect of the argument. But Romo's on the same level as Aikman. And right now, as an announcer, he's reached a successful level like Hall of Famer. True, but the difference is when people look back, people are going to go, yeah, but Aikman won 3 Super Bowls. Romo never won a playoff game. That's the difference.
So you're right. That is the difference.
If that matters, and this is the only key. If that matters to Romo, Romo's path to redemption is becoming a Super Bowl winning head coach.
Yep, and
so
Romo,
it depends on how competitive you are.
And Tony is the only person who has the right or the ability to determine what matters for him. And as long as he is honest with himself and true to that, then he's making the right decisions.
And I don't even think Aikman's that great. I think the only thing that makes Aikman even credible, because I think he's actually kind of lazy. Like, I think the only thing that even makes Aikman credible is the fact that he won 3 Super Bowls.
He's
not actually very good.
I agree that Tony is better at the commentary and the analysis. Way better.
Way better. Yeah.
I agree that Troy is equal from a professional success standpoint in the how much he gets paid, how famous he is, where he is kind of on the ladder, in his career.
Well, and here's the crazy part is when you listen to, this is what a lot of people don't factor in. The way I look at it, if Tony Romo was on my staff, I wouldn't even want him to be an offensive coordinator. I would want him to be a defensive coordinator because his ability to predict what the offensive is doing, and he knows how to stop that because he knows how to beat that, right? Like, you think about those things backwards from your result to your, like, that's what I would hire. I'd be like, dude, come in as a defensive consultant and teach my defensive coordinator and teach my position coaches and teach my players. Hey, guys, when they run this in this situation, they always do this. I'd pay him $20 million a year on the back end payroll to do that. Well, and then he doesn't even have to worry about being on camera. He gets paid more to do the same job.
Romo's a really unique situation, though.
And then I'd give him a Super Bowl ring.
Because like he can't ever go back and compete at being a player and prove that I can be a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Like, that's not even an option. So correct. Like, what are you trying to compete at or prove were you to go then from the booth to the coaching? Are you trying to compete for being one of the best football minds of all time?
Minds?
Because
like, the way you said that.
Well, yeah, my apologies, but don't
ever apologize.
But like,
to me
is that
again.
The competition?
Don't ever apologize to me again, you son of a bitch.
All right.
Don't you fucking ever apologize.
All right. But so what would the competition actually be? Like, to me, if Romo were to transition and go to coaching, he'd have to be competing with like Bill Belichick and Bill Walsh of like, I want to be referred to as one of the greatest football minds.
Minds?
Yes, football minds.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. Football brains of all time. Because, like, I don't know. What else would you be competing with? Like, you can't compete that, I'm a great quarterback because I went and became a head coach and won a Super Bowl.
Honestly, all you got to do is win a Super Bowl.
But again, what competition are you trying to have with what people to get what title? I mean,
like, dude, there's still not very many people that have won Super Bowls.
You mean as coaches?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or teams or whatever.
Okay, so just simply being any part of a Super Bowl champion. So, like, this would also open up, like, if that's the competitive
Let me put
itch,
it this way. Hold on,
I'm just saying,
buddy.
if that's the competitive
I just realized the end of this argument. John Gruden. He was a commentator, Monday Night Football, making millions. Stopped and went back to coaching. There's rumors of Bill Cowher coming back to coaching.
Well,
it's how competitive are you?
I realized the key element in this.
Both of those guys have already won Super Bowls and then left commentating to come back to coaching.
How competitive?
Cowher is alleged, but that's steam that's happening. I got people.
In my opinion, it's also
Deebo Samuel.
It's also how
that's Brandon
competitive
Ayuk,
are
sorry.
you from the team standpoint? Because you are individually beating any other competition that, and that could be presented to you. So it's about being a part of a team champion, not just something you can accomplish individually. You are chasing a goal, a prize that can only be accomplished as part of a group, whether it be the quarterback or the head coach or the GM or maybe some other role, a quarterback's coach. Why not be a quarterback's coach, Tony? Why not be an offensive coordinator?
Here's my last hurrah towards my, and it's not even an argument. It's just an if, right?
Exactly.
It depends.
I'm speaking in ifs as well.
So
right?
here's my
We're
last.
Talking about another person.
Here's my last hurrah. John Gruden was making millions. He was comfy. He could have just stayed in his cushy job, but he took less money to become the coach of the Raiders.
Yep.
He wanted back.
Yep.
Okay. There's been rumors, and there are rumors that Cowher is coming back, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be this year, but it does sound like it might be next year.
Yep.
Okay. Now, here's another thing. Nate Burleson, former Vikings player, who was on NFL Network and on CBS Sports, and now he's doing real news, like real news.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Is on record and has it built into his contract everywhere he signs. If Bill Cowher becomes a head coach anywhere in the NFL, Nate Burleson has an immediate opt-out if Bill Cowher hires him as a wide receivers coach.
Cool.
It depends on how competitive you are.
Sure. I do
all
think
this other shit is irrelevant to these type of guys. That's my point. That's been my only fucking point. And guys like you and I aren't in that world. We aren't like them.
For sure.
But I understand those guys. I'm around those guys. I've coached those guys. I've played with those guys.
Touchdown,
and
Debo.
They're different. Oh, there's Debo. I knew it was going to happen eventually.
On the play before.
Yeah, it was. But that's my only point, dude. The more I think about it, there is a historically large amount of dudes who leave high-paying jobs for lesser-paying jobs because they get the gravity. They get that fucking that endorphin rush of competing and winning and losing, because that's what drives a lot of people, dude.
You know what?
That's what I'm getting at.
And another
rant. Another mic drop.
If it's not something different, it might just be a part of what you're talking about. Genuine love of the game, I think.
True.
It can also be a part of this, or can be a manifestation of manifest into competitiveness.
I'll give you an example of love of the game.
Brett
Favre retires, becomes a high school football coach.
Yep.
He's that competitive, but it's not about the money.
Yes, because he loves the game. The love.
And he's that competitive.
Yes.
He wants to compete. He loves to win.
Yep.
That's
the manifestation of the love is competition, is participating
or vice versa.
In competition.
Or vice versa. You're that competitive and you just find a sport you love.
Sure. Absolutely.
Right? Like there's certain guys that are that competitive and they suck at poker, but they keep gambling away their fucking money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't always manifest in being good or a champion of any sort.
Very excellent point.
I'm just making the only reason Tony Romo would become a head coach. That's where this whole thing started. My only point this entire time has been it depends on how competitive he is. If he's not that competitive, he's going to just chill.
Yep.
But if he's like most of the athletes and he goes Matt Millen on the bit, right? But Matt Millen's ability was to scout talent and point out great players. That's why he became a GM. Tony Romo's ability seems to be able to call plays, suggesting his better role would be to be a coach. So it all depends on if he's that type of weirdo, fucking psychopath, hyper competitive, which I don't think he is. I think
I've never got those vibes from him.
I think he is just a cool ass, chill dude.
I think so too. I think it's the Wisconsin in him.
Yeah, man, and he's one of us. Like, he would probably be here doing this football podcast.
Yep.
Like, literally.
Yeah.
Like that's the type of dude he would be. Like, oh, I'm in Hudson? Fucking no problem, dude. I'll pop over and do Jared Singer's dumbass podcast.
Right. Yep. No, exactly. I've always gotten those impressions and vibes from him, but I don't know the guy. Like, I can't say with certainty or anything like that, but like just off of my impressions, and my perceptions, but I've always gotten the same.
It's like he's like the Nickelback of football players. Like, people try to talk shit and make fun of him, but anybody that knows him is like, he's the coolest dude on the earth.
Dude, that's one of the most perfectly accurate fucking analogies, metaphors, comparisons I've ever heard in my life. Oh my God.
I've never heard a negative word about Nickelback. I know a lot of people that know Nickelback.
Oh
I know
God.
a lot of people that know Nickelback, and everyone is like, dude, say what you will about their band or their music, but they're the coolest dudes in the music industry. It's like Metallica and Nickelback. It's like in order.
Sure.
Because even the shitty things that you hear about Metallica, like people that actually work with Metallica, they're like, no, dude, they're awesome. They're like literally the greatest.
Yep. Well, and
they know everybody's names. They know all their daughters.
You would hear one, perspectively
that sounded
dependent.
really weird the way I said that.
You'd hear one. You'll hear one perspectively dependent shitty story, that paints somebody in a shitty light 100 times.
Or you hear something about Lars.
Before you'll hear 100 frickin' stories once that are positive and good and the way things normally always are, so.
Or you hear something weird about Lars.
Yeah.
But no, everybody I know in the industry is like, no, they're the greatest. Nickelback is the shit. Like, they're nice, they're genuine, they're cool, they're humble, they're in on their own jokes.
Sure.
Like, they're in on the jokes that are about them, and they think they're funny. Like, they don't even like laugh at them to try to like
right.
They legitimately they get
like,
it.
This is clever. It's good comedy. I don't care if I'm on the receiving end. Like, that is a healthy sized ego, in my opinion. People who can do that. Because
this is gearing up to be a good game.
Because by all measurables,
boring, but good.
You have no reason to let that get to you or affect you in any way. So, but the more disproportionate your ego is, the harder that becomes.
Yeah, and all these things become increasingly different when your body's on the line as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, you start taking shots and you're like, well, my body can't keep up, but my mind is better than ever. So let me stop being a player and become a coach.
Sure.
Or guys like, listen, I understand the game better than anybody on the football field. I just wasn't accurate with my arm.
Gotcha.
Let me be Doug Peterson, who wins a Super Bowl as Brett Favre's backup. You see what I'm getting at?
There's still things that I believe I can accomplish and want to accomplish that I haven't.
Yep.
I totally get that. For me,
that's a great throw. That's a great throw.
For me, that falls a little more.
That doesn't look like much, but that's a great throw.
In the realm of that sense of fulfilling a purpose, more so than using the word competitiveness. But that was a phenomenal throw.
Ooh, nice run. Got a solid 8-9 yards.
Akers is the real deal as a back.
He has been all year. He has been all year, too. This is nothing new.
He hasn't played for shit this year. He's played like 3 games this year. He was awesome last year. His rookie year, he was the fucking shit. But then this year, he was on IR pretty much the entire time.
Was he really?
That's why they traded for Sony Michel from the Patriots. Because, he went on IR.
Really?
Darrell Henderson Jr. went on IR. He just got activated like the last week of the regular season or the first week of the postseason. And I think he was out before the week 1 started. My phone works. I'll check.
I feel like he was around for the entire middle of the season.
Let's check. I could definitely be wrong.
I feel like he turned into one of the most reliable fantasy backs all season long.
This year? I think that was last year.
Cooper Kupp took his eyes off the ball. Let's see if they give us a replay. Here it comes. Here's your replay, guys. All right, now watch the way he peels off this coverage, and then he took his eyes off the football right as he was about to catch it. Takes his eyes off the football.
That was classic. Looking to
That's
run
fundamentals.
before you
That's
caught
fundamentals.
it. Yeah.
This is Pee Wee football stuff.
He knew it the second it happened too.
Pee-wee, and so did Matt. This is Pee Wee football stuff, guys.
ESPN here says that on the 2021 regular season, Cam Akers had 5 attempts for 3 yards.
Wow.
Yeah, he didn't play because he was hurt all year.
Oh, second down. That's going to be 3rd and 1. What a fucking throw, though, man. What a throw outside to Cooper Kupp.
Stafford's arm has never, ever been a question mark, I don't think. The strength, the accuracy, just... That guy's arm has always been freaking top-notch. Why the Lions took him first overall when they did. And Stafford has such a Kevin Garnett type of, thing with him where, like, this is great, freaking love to cheer for him, carry a shitty franchise for 10 years, type of guy.
Right.
Never able to give him a decent team. And you want him to go experience a little success somewhere. Yeah, Akers only had 1 regular season game this year where he had 5 attempts for 3 yards. Otherwise, he was on IR.
That's mind-blowing.
Yep. IR the whole time.
Oh, you know who I'm thinking of? Wait, who did you just say? What's his name?
Cam Akers. Oh, you got to catch that.
You know who I'm thinking of? Austin Eckler.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
That's who I'm thinking of.
Absolutely.
That's who I'm thinking of.
God, I wish I would have took him in fantasy this year. I had more than one opportunity to get him in a spot of substantial value for what he did. Honestly, even if you reached on him, air quotations, in round 2, that's a great freaking pick.
If this happens mid-season, you get cut. If this happens mid-season, you get cut.
Oh, my goodness. How do you drop that wide open touchdown? No, you can't panic here, though, just because you missed on that, first down home run shot that you should have got.
I mean, you're 3rd and manageable.
You're still in scoring range.
Oh, 3rd and 8. That's 3rd and long. That's not good.
But you're still inside the 40-yard. I mean, you're still in scoring range yet. Make sure you get points. That dropped pass does not need to be the end of the world.
That's pretty bad, though, dude.
That is really bad.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm not trying to minimize how bad that drop was.
That's pretty fucking bad, dude. Ooh, we're getting a new Batman preview.
Just pretend.
Oh, shit.
Just pretend.
Our graphics gonna get a little fucked up, guys.
Just pretend that instead of calling that play and having him drop it, you called a run up the middle that got 0 yards. That's it. No difference. That's how you emotionally and mentally need to respond to something like that. Is you need to find a way to reasonably equate it to something that you have a different feeling on. But it's legit. It checks out,
This is going to get tens of views.
That's right.
I can totally relate to that. My Instagram's super fucked up, dude. So my Instagram, I can get 30 views on one video and 10,000 views on another video. Like my Instagram is super fucked up. I'll send you proof. Like I got a video where I got 10,000 views. Like it's not a joke. And then I'll get 1,500 on another one, and I'll get 35 on another one. And then I'll get 7 on one, and I'll get 5,300 on another one. Doesn't make
Do you have any theories
sense
on this yet?
Nope. I'm figuring out it as we go. I'm currently doing a Bollywood campaign
Okay.
Have you seen my Instagram Bollywood?
I'm
Face
never on
swaps?
Instagram ever.
Oh, never.
Never.
So I'm putting it. Well, they technically go over to Facebook as well, but I'm doing these face swap videos where I take my face and I put them on Bollywood actors during the middle of their musical montages.
Okay. Yeah, this is something I might check out.
They're pretty great. They're pretty great, and they actually seem to really be catching steam because when I first put them out there, I wasn't sure if people would think they were funny or creepy. And honestly, about a week or two ago, because I've been putting one out every single day, about a week or two ago, I've started to get like a legitimate comment or two like in my private DMs every day. Like, dude, these are fucking like really starting to hit. It took a while for people to like catch on to what I was doing, but yeah. And the whole thing is I keep telling people that I'm quitting my podcast and music to become a Bollywood star. I'm moving. I'm like trying to troll people that I'm quitting everything and I'm moving to India.
Oh my god.
I don't think they believe it, but
if I were to make a top 10 list of things I enjoy to do, laughing would be on that list. And this sounds like the type of thing that might make me laugh, so I would definitely check it out.
I
don't know if that was... Damn,
he missed it. He missed
yarder.
It. He missed it.
I don't even know if I go for that 54-yarder with a minute 50 left in the half. That's a long
what we were talking about earlier.
That's a long ass field goal for some guy that I've never even heard of. And if I haven't heard of the guy, even if he's a kicker, like that's not a good sign. But now not only is the momentum switched, but there's the actual field position as well, where that momentum then can more easily manifest itself into points.
Sure.
It's a lot different if you get momentum with an interception where you got the ball at your own 5.
Yeah.
To start like yeah, you stopped us, but you're in a hole as a result. Right. So like there's give and take. It's a totally different thing, but this with the timing inside the 2-minute warning, ouch.
It's getting toy.
Ouch. Yeah, that's right.
It's getting toy. Toy. It was so funny. Burger King looked good earlier on that previous commercial, and now they played McDonald's, and I was like, I'm good.
Well, to be fair,
it was
that ate. In between?
Yeah, we ate. Yeah. we ate the food.
Yeah.
Like, man, that Burger King commercial came up, and I was like, that shit looks good as fuck, bro. And it basically came up again, and I was like, I'm good, bro.
I think I experienced the same thing, but didn't realize it until he said it. But like, yeah.
Oh, that nacho cheese looks good though.
I don't know. I think that mustache looks good,
dude. Okay, if we do a Super Bowl thing, I'm making my queso.
Okay, cool.
I will make queso that'll rip your fucking face off. You think you know what queso is until you have my queso, and then you're like, dude, what the fuck?
All right, deal.
And I'll make some homemade guac. That's what I'll do. If we do a little Super Bowl party, right? We do a live stream for the Super Bowl where we do a thing. I'll do queso and guac. You guys got to bring other food and beer and all that. We'll do a little potluck.
I can definitely bring chips, whatnot. Some Tostitos.
Some chips.
Some Tostitos.
No. When I do the guac and the queso, I also bring the chips. You have to bring something else.
Okay, gotcha. That was Welker?
That was Wells Welker. The Rams went and got Von Miller, right?
Yes, they did. Yep, that was a mid-season or early to mid-season.
I picked the Rams at the beginning of the season, but
they also did the same thing with Beckham Jr.
Well, they signed him.
Right. You're right. They didn't trade for him. They didn't give up anything for him. He was straight up cut. That is a great point. No, that's a great detail to point out. It is a little different.
But yeah, when they traded for Von Miller, I was like, oh. And I already had him picked as my Super Bowl favorite.
Ooh, oh my gosh.
Smoked him.
That might be the last we see of Debo today. Oh my gosh.
No, Debo will get up. Smoked him. Here's your replay.
It wouldn't be a toughness thing.
Smoked him.
Oh. No, it would have nothing to do with toughness. It would be a dude, your collarbone is broken. You're not going back in.
No, his collarbone's fine. He doesn't roll over if his collarbone is broken.
That did, from that slowed down view too, it did catch him a little lower than it first looked too. On live speed,
that's a clean hit.
That's a super clean hit.
They're calling him for a flag.
What? I'm not cheering for either team. That's ridiculous.
They're calling him for a flag,
clean as it gets.
But that's a Oh no, they didn't call him.
Okay, good.
They picked up the flag.
Good, because that's football. That's
home run football. That's home. I was just about to say, back in the day, that's a clean play.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, based off of the wording they have now of the rules, like that's what you have to enforce, and so you don't get to change it. Just because of how it looked at the end, or because of a bad landing, or because the guy didn't get back up from it right away.
He roasted him, bro.
Legally, cleanly, as cleanly as can be.
Debo got smoked. That is literally what I did when I played football. I fucked dudes up coming over the middle.
If you want to blame somebody for the hit that Debo took, you blame Jimmy G.
I was just going to say, you blame Debo. You blame Debo.
Threw the ball when he threw it, placed it where he placed it. He hung Debo out to get lit up on that.
You're probably right, but I still blame Debo. You know why?
Why?
Because he's black.
It's just...
Yeah, always, dude. Did I tell you a story? So I was playing fucking Among Us.
Okay.
And I got my little Discord server thing going, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I jump into the Among Us server, and I'm in chat, and I'm playing for a few hours. We're having a great time. Like, we got some real chemistry going. There's like 10 or 12 of us in this group. And we're waiting for 2 people to join the lobby so we can start the next game. 2 new guys that are coming in. And he's like, all right, we got time to waste. It's going to be like 5 minutes before this next person jumps in. Let's do story time. Who's going first? And I was like, I'll go first. All right, so here's the deal. And I literally went into it that quick. I was like, I'll go first. All right, here's the deal. I had 0 plans for this. I'm like, all right, I'll go first. Here's the deal. When I was born, I was literally born with 2 left feet. I convinced all these motherfuckers for real I was born with 2 literal left feet. So then it gets better, right?
And we blame the media for people being able to believe stupid shit that ain't true. How about we blame the stupid people?
So then once I had them all on the hook for believing I was born with 2 left feet, I knew I could go anywhere with this story. So I improv'd it within seconds, and I was like, but here's the catch. When I was about 4.5 years old, there was a kid in the neighborhood who died in a car crash, right? So, so it was a perfect match. It was a perfect match. So they cut off his right foot and they transplanted it right above the ankle. They gave it to me. Right? And everyone's like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. And I was like, yeah, it gets crazier, yo, because here's the thing. He was black. So I just got 1 black foot. They all believe that shit.
Oh my God.
They all believe every fucking word of that bullshit story, bro.
Oh my God.
So then
that's a gift. You have a gift.
So then I came in the next day and I changed my profile name to Blackfoot. and when I would get into games, dude, when I would get into games and people would be like, "Hey, yo, I seen Black in laboratory." I'd be like,
I know that, dude.
I'd be like, yo, don't refer. I'd be like, you need to refer to me with my formal name, Blackfoot. And then, so then I got them all the next day. I got everyone to refer to me strictly by Blackfoot, right? They were super scared to just call me Black because I would flip out and be like, refer to me by my formal name, Blackfoot, which I spelled BLAKFUT. And then it gets even one step better, bro.
Oh, please don't. My fucking face hurts.
So then because it's Among Us, so as soon as they start talking shit about me, dude, I just start screaming at the top of my lungs, "Don't you ever speak ill on Blackfoot's name." Don't you ever speak ill on Blackfoot's name. Dude, bro, it was the best, dude. I love fucking with people in Discord. It's the greatest. It's the absolute greatest. It's the absolute greatest. If you guys join my Patreon, you can legitimately come game with me online and we fuck around like this. This is what we do. But you got to come join my Patreon to get invited to the Discord server. Or you got to be a former guest on the podcast. It's one of the two. Former guests get invited.
Safe, conservative. This game's kind of shaping up how I thought it would be. Close, lower scoring.
I just want to know why you're in LA and you play indoors.
Yeah.
Like, how soft are you?
Well, my first factor in an explanation for that would be that the building is used for other functions other than just the Rams home football games, and with some of those depending on the time of years, even though it's California, the rain and winds and hurricanes or whatever.
San Fran's up 10-7.
I don't know. That'd be my first attempt at explaining it. Is buildings used for other stuff too, and sometimes it's rainy and shit when that happens. I don't know.
So yeah, if you guys want to game with me, especially if you want to, because that's what I'm doing right now is I'm playing Among Us.
10-7 Niners.
You guys want to fuck around and hang out with me as Blackfoot.
Dang.
If you want to come hang out with me as Blackfoot and play Among Us, join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/JaredSingerLive.
Ooh, heated too.
Somebody's trying to get in the face of the kicker.
These two teams don't like each other. Yeah, that's exactly what was happening. Yeah.
Grow up. Like, if you're trying to intimidate the kicker, you're not on the right side of that fence.
100%.
Like, you're literally picking on the kindergartner of the football team.
Yep.
Like, I'm the guy who plays, like, I was now I'm 6 feet, but, you know, back then when I was playing football, if you would have sized me up now, I'm the 5'8" cornerback, right?
Sure.
Running up right now, and I'm fucking getting ejected from the game just to prove a point. Because if you're going to bully my kicker, and I'm probably 2 inches shorter than my kicker, I'm running up, and I'm pile driving you, like leaving my feet to cheap shot you and knock you out midfield. If you're going to fuck with my kicker, because that's how big of a bitch you are, yeah, I'll get ejected. I'll get ejected just to pump my team up. I'll go watch the game from the fucking
and it
locker
does
room.
Depend on your role. Like, I mean, you can't do that if you're Pat Mahomes,
right?
You know, but
you don't do that if you're Antoine Winfield,
right?
But if you're the backup safety, like I probably would have been.
But if you're guy number 46 on the depth chart because it's a special teams play, you know, Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You're going to be of way more value. You are going to be of way more value in a moment like that, making
the
a decision
kicker's like
like
an
that.
autistic 12-year-old.
Like, dude, believe me.
Leave him alone.
If all you do is block for extra points and field goals, there's another guy on the team that can do that if you get ejected. I guarantee you. One of the starting O-linemen can fill in and do as good a job as you do.
Super Dave just got back from having dinner. What did he miss? Not much.
Oh.
Missed kick. And now San Francisco's up 10-7 instead of it being tied 10-10. I mean,
conversation-wise, between the two of us, he missed everything, like a lifetime's worth of knowledge and insight and stuff.
Infinite knowledge.
Yes.
Like parallel universe knowledge.
Yep. But football-wise, didn't miss a whole lot. Touchdown from each team, and then field goal from the Niners.
You probably lost like $250,000 by missing out on that conversation. The investment opportunities that happened.
It is not quantifiable to even attempt to measure what you missed out on. But that's okay.
And then Among Us talk. Oh, he missed the Blackfoot discussion.
He that's why I said everything. That's why I just said everything. Like, where do I begin? Like, you missed everything.
You missed the entire story of Blackfoot. The story of Blackfoot is life-changing.
You missed Blackfoot. You missed competitiveness.
Oh, that's the other thing is now
so much.
Now, as I jump into chats and they just immediately start going Blackfoot, because they go black, and I'll be like, "Hey, refer to me as Blackfoot. I need you to use my full name." People are super sensitive, so they just do it. That's how big of bitches people are.
Yep.
I'd be like, "Whatever, fuck you. I'm calling you Black, but my name is Blackfoot, right? It's Blakfut." So I like refer to me with my full surname. It's Blackfoot, and people do that shit, right? And it's hilarious. And then I usually wait a couple games now, and then I go, "So do y'all want to hear the story of Blackfoot?" And the best part is most motherfuckers are like, "No." Most motherfuckers straight up are like, "No, I don't want to hear the story." And I'm like, "Listen, are you sure? Because it's worth it." And there's always one dude. There's one motherfucker. There's one motherfucker who goes, "I want to hear it." So I tell it again, dude, and it kills every time. Every fucking time.
You know, dude, that dude is one of the other dudes who doesn't want to hear it, but has went, "Okay, all the other dudes don't want to hear it. I want to piss them off.
I want to be the country." Yep. Dude, and the thing is the story's so funny, bro. What? I legitimately I've completely recontemplated my stand-up comedy career and been like, I think I have my first bit. Because they only give you 3 minutes.
Sure. What I love most about it is the life of its own that the story has or has taken. That's probably my favorite thing about all of it. It's not just this one-time thing that happened or anything. This thing straight up is its own entity now that has its own existence and its own life. And I'm just kind of an audience member,
Bro, I've done a bunch of them. I did a bunch of them. I went into another game where somebody, the code to join the game was like DOLUCF. And I was sitting there and just trying to remember it so I could type it on the other screen. And I went, Department of Labor, University of Central Florida. And somebody was like, "What?" And I was like, "I said I work for the Department of Labor and I went to the University of Central Florida." And they're like, "What does that have to do with anything?" And I'm like, "Well, that's who I am, where I came from. My name's Red Tavern and I breed gators." And for the next hour and a half, my name was Red Tavern, and I bred gators. And I worked for the Department of Labor.
Because
none of this makes any sense.
Because the last name Tavern, fucking, that's not a red flag. Dude, this guy's fucking family last name is Tavern. Like the bar? Yeah, like the fucking bar. Tavern.
No one caught that. No one says a word. They're just completely overwhelmed.
Like Red Tavern. Isn't that where we had wings last fucking Wednesday?
Exactly.
Oh, I gotta hit up the bathroom.
I come from a long line of gator breeders.
Oh my God.
Wait, didn't you work for the Department of Labor? I do both, motherfucker. Like this dude works in an office all day for the Department of Labor.
You trying to say breeding gators ain't real labor? Is that what you're trying to say? You trying to say my job ain't a real job?
And then he goes home and risks limbs. That's Florida, baby.
Florida is a special place.
All right, go piss. You gotta go piss. Go piss. Yeah, that's why you guys should join the Patreon so you guys can come be a part of the Discord server and become a part of the chaos. We have a hoot over there. That's where we play video games and talk shit. We do all kinds of weird, crazy shit. The Department of Gators. I really have, though. I have completely recontemplated my stand-up career based on these stories I've completely made up in these Discord chats. And now I'm just trying to figure out, like, how do I tell these stories on stage? Do I tell them the way I told them tonight, where I go into these Discord chats and make up these characters? Or do I tell them as if they're people I've met and people I know? And like make up a backstory, because either way the whole thing's completely fictitious, so I can't sit here and pretend like anything's authentic about it like a normal comedian. Although if I tell them from the perspective of how they actually happened, then there is some authenticity behind it. So maybe I already found my answer. Oh, God damn it. Sorry, I was watching a highlight or watching a press release. So, the Vikings do apparently want Jim Harbaugh, but now apparently the Miami Dolphins want Jim Harbaugh. We're fucked. It's real to me. Shout out to Kyle. Shout out to all you guys hanging out with us in chat. Appreciate you guys, man. This has been a lot of fun, dude. I mean, these are always fun every week. We do these things in some way, shape, or form, whether it's the Sunday game, the Monday game, the Thursday game. In some way, shape, or form, we do these football things now. But man, this has been especially fun tonight with Scotty joining the deal and having all you guys in chat. It's been an absolute blast, man. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, share, blah, 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 blah. Scotty's coming back. I can hear the dog barking. Peanut! I know who it is. So, dude, bad news. The Miami Dolphins are interested in hiring Jim Harbaugh.
I don't know. Good candidate. Oh, Harbaugh doesn't need to be the end of the world, but
I think Harbaugh's the guy. I think if you wanna win a Super Bowl and you hire this Wall Street dude as your GM, you need a real football guy as your coach.
I think it's a great balance. Absolutely. So maybe then, if we have to go to a plan B, maybe then DeMeco Ryans would be just a little bit above Kevin O'Connell in those regards. Hope that he can be Mike Tomlin-esque.
The only thing I like about Kevin O'Connell,
experience and stuff.
The only thing I like about Kevin O'Connell is I went back and I looked at the year he was. There was 1 year where he was Kirk Cousins' quarterback coach.
Okay.
Pretty impressive.
I think I heard someone talking on that on the radio the other day, maybe, where like...
It's pretty impressive. Anwar and I broke it down. We were hanging out on the phone and looking up shit. I was on the computer. He was on the computer. You know, we were doing the nerdy shit. And we kind of like we backtracked and like really like together on the phone kind of deep dived who this Kevin O'Connell guy is, and like, you know, Anwar's thing was he doesn't look like a head coach. And then he immediately, before he even allowed me to respond, he goes, "But what does that even mean?" And I was like, "Exactly, bro.
Sure.
Like, I ain't judging this dude on his chiseled Clark Kent jaw."
Right. I agree.
Look at Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh's got that same jaw. Yeah, you know, he's a backup quarterback in the NFL for a while, but that's what I think is crazy.
Those
like
backups tend to become really good coaches, and
that's
I think
exactly
it's
what I was
because
gonna
they
say.
weren't ever able to get as far as they got off of just sheer physical talent. They had to figure things out better from a mental standpoint, have a higher game IQ to overachieve, because they didn't have the strongest arm. They weren't 6'4", they were 5'11 and a half, or, you know, like, I mean, stuff like that. I think that's why you see a lot of the backups, and especially backup quarterbacks, because like their job is so much just to be in the playbook and be a part of the scheme and the communication of like what the defense is doing and how we're going to counter that and all that stuff. Like, you're kind of the middleman between the coaches and the starters sometimes, or at least old school. Often that was the case. Maybe not so much now. But yeah, I definitely recognize that there is like way more often. It's rare to see a star player, a really good player, be a successful coach. It's not uncommon at all to see a career backup become a successful coach.
Right.
You know,
Doug Peterson is the most recent example of that.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, it's crazy because, like, even PJ Fleck.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's right.
Failed player for the Buccaneers.
Yep. Exactly. Another fantastic example. I bet we could find tons of examples
they just say
if we really dug.
Smokers put on a great
I'm pretty
show?
sure they said the chain smokers, yeah. I haven't heard that music name for like, 5 years? Something like that. When they had like a pair of hits.
Wow, Kyle even says, as a Michigan fan, he says, I'd rather see him go to Minnesota than Miami. I mean, that makes sense because Miami's a douchebag town.
Miami's been such a dysfunctional organization for such a long time.
It's also a douchebag town.
It is a little bit. I've never been there personally, so it's, you know.
I mean, here's the thing, dude, is if you just go to Miami, you just go to Miami, it's amazing. But people that live in Miami are all douchebags. Like, even the people that live in Miami will be like, yeah, we're all super douche. Like, we're basically Jersey Shore.
Right, gotcha.
But no one knows we're Jersey Shore.
Yep.
And they just don't have the reputation for it.
We kept it a secret because the old people keep their mouths shut.
It's a sleazy town.
Yep.
It's a sleazy town where everyone is... everything about Miami is based on clout. Right? It's not based on actual money.
Gotcha.
It's not based on actual wealth. It's based on the appearance of wealth.
I gotcha.
It's literally the Jersey Shore. And even people
from there. Doesn't sound like my type of place.
No, but you would love to go there.
Sure, of course.
Because they have great clubs. They have great music scene. The food there is amazing. They have one of the best tattoo scenes in the industry. So, like, you can go there and have
love to go there.
An
hate to stay
insane
there.
5 to 10 day vacation. It would be one of the greatest times of your life. I know people that go there on a regular basis to hang out and party, but they're like, I would never live there, ever.
So maybe another way to think of Miami would be Vegas with an ocean.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Although Vegas is becoming a more and more desirable place to live.
Sure.
That would be the only fault to that statement.
Right, as the directions they're going. Gotcha.
Yeah, because 20, 30 years ago, Miami was an awesome place to live.
And Vegas was very undesirable for residents.
Yep. And Miami just keeps getting worse. Dade County is awful. The whole thing's a disaster. It's kind of like becoming Minneapolis.
I've always hated Dade County ever since I fell in love with Jim Morrison. Because they're the assholes that put him on trial.
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning of the tyranny. Yep. Yeah, they're a super weird ass fucking town, dude. but the food is incredible. Miami has some of the most underrated food.
Ooh.
All right, you commentated. I got to go to the bathroom.
That looks like that's going to be a free first down for the 49ers. That looks like an offsides on the Rams.
All right, I'll be back in a minute.
It certainly is. 3rd and 4, that'll move the chains. What a way to make things easier for the Niners if you're the Rams, and you are not trying to do that. And what is he basing his movement off of? Like, the ball never came close to moving. When you are a nose tackle or a defensive tackle and you're lined up that close to where the ball is before it snapped, you are supposed to be looking at nothing but the ball. Like, theoretically, an offensive lineman twitching in a false start shouldn't have any effect on you because you're not even looking at it. You're looking at the ball. So that's kind of an inexplicable mistake, especially given the gravity of the penalty on 3rd and 4. You know, it's not just a 5-yard penalty on 1st and 10. It's a 5-yard penalty on 3rd and 4. So that moves the chains for free for the team, and you can't have that. Nope, TV really loves that kicker getting into it with Jalen Ramsey there. Robbie Gould. If you're a Bears fan or former Bears fan, you might find yourselves cheering for the Niners because of the Robbie Gould connection, or maybe you find yourself cheering for Matthew Stafford's Rams given the NFC North connection. I don't know. I think most of us Vikings fans are kind of looking at this one going, yeah, I don't mind either team. I don't love either team, but I don't mind either team either. But I don't know. I could be wrong there too. Maybe some of you just can't stand the Niners, partly because of their, just success throughout the decades, I would assume. Or maybe some of you don't like the Rams because of personalities or something. I'm not sure, but I really don't have a strong dislike for either of these teams. Garoppolo under pressure, avoids, throws, receiver in the vicinity. Should not be any controversy over intentional grounding there. Actually, a really good burn incompletion for Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, we do have a flag in here late. Let's see what that's Okay, it's on the defense. Oof. Rams just continuing stupid, unforced errors. To use a tennis term, unforced errors. And just shooting themselves in the foot, giving the Niners multiple free first downs. They called that a penalty on the defense? That's a terrible flag. That is a terrible flag. I don't like it either, Jalen. That's just a bad call. So it's 1st and 10 again. 49ers almost at midfield. 1st and 10. Garoppolo drops back to pass, complete outright to Eli Mitchell, and he's got a 12-yard gain for another 49ers first down. Mitchell, a nice surprise on the season for the 49ers. I know heading into the season, a lot of question marks as to whether or not Raheem Mostert would keep that number 1 job, if a mid-round rookie out of Ohio State, Trey Sermon, would get it. And lo and behold, in trademark recent Niners fashion, some no-name 3rd or 4th guy on the depth chart named Eli Mitchell ends up being the fantasy football stud.
Elijah Mitchell?
Yeah. Yep. Getting all the fantasy rushing points that the 49ers get this year. So if you picked him up on waiver wire at some point in your fantasy football season, you were happy about that. That's for sure. Great value. Yeah, about all you missed was another free first down for the Niners via penalty from the Rams. Except this one wasn't warranted. This one was just a bad call. Otherwise, didn't miss much.
All right, I'm back.
Garoppolo in trouble. Still has the ball. Somehow gets rid of it. It's incomplete to the right. Again, another good burn where Jimmy Garoppolo saved his team a good 5 yards by managing an incompletion from the jaws of sack. That didn't sound good at all, but whatever. Really been impressed with Garoppolo's elusiveness here in this game, though. Like, he's gotten away from more pressure than I expect him to get away from already.
Super Dave, I don't feel strongly on who wins, he said. Either team, who wins. Doesn't matter to him. I'm cheering for Stafford. I'm cheering for Stafford. Ooh. I'm cheering for Stafford because I watched the Vikings beat the shit out of him for 40 years.
At least that's how it felt to Matt, I'm sure.
Man, for a guy who's not
nice
very
job
big,
by 91 making up for that false start, or offsides, I mean, by deflecting that pass.
I just got to say, for a guy who's not very big, in Aaron Donald, like compared to everyone he plays against, the dominance, it really, truly is incredible.
He has incredible functional power, even though he doesn't have massive size to go with it. He's got almost off-the-charts athleticism for his position and his size, even though it's a little smaller than most of the other guys. And finally, they line him up and use him schematically in unique ways to maximize his unique skill sets and not just put him in a very traditional clog up the two gap or the one gap or the three gap, eat two blocks, let the other guys make the plays. Like they use him
and he's
much more creatively than traditional use of either a nose tackle or a three technique.
Do you know about the new gap and a half deal?
Not really.
That's Staley from the Chargers.
Okay.
Who was the DC in LA.
Would love to hear
Rams.
about it. Would love to hear about it.
So it's literally just mixing between the idea of a one gap and a two gap defender.
Yep.
Right? So Staley's theory is that you can't do either of those things in the modern day NFL. And so he hybrided them. And so is what Staley essentially, and this is what made LA so dominant and got him to the Super Bowl a few years ago, is he's like, we're really a gap and a half team. Right? And it's very hard to explain on a podcast where we're not breaking down film and showing the intricacies.
Without the graphic of a field and where people are lined up.
Specifically film.
Gaps.
And specifically film to show the fluid.
The moving
difference.
Of the pieces.
Exactly.
Yep.
In between steps. But it's essentially is what he did is he broke down this idea that Aaron Donald is a gap and a half defender. He's not a one gap. He's not a two gap. He's a gap and a half defender. And so he articulated this entire defense, around the idea of this one player, and got everybody else to scheme up to that.
That's how effing good Aaron Donald is.
It's pretty incredible, dude. There's a YouTube video. You can look at it. You look up what's his name. It's not Bruce Staley. It's
Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley.
Isn't that it? Because I feel like people constantly, or at least I've seen people,
there's YouTube videos
confuse him with Brandon Stokely, former wide receiver from the Colts, and it's because of the same first name, but the last name has the alteration.
Yep.
In it.
Nope. You're right. Yeah, and there's a YouTube video out there that actually breaks down interviews of him talking about this, and then there's a couple dudes. These are the guys that I follow on YouTube.
Oof.
And they break down deep film, bro. Like these are clearly former NFL scouts or former college scouts. Like these are guys who really know what they're doing, and their entire channels are dedicated to coaching and coaching schemes.
I just love the way Cooper Kupp bounced off that hit, kept his feet moving the whole time.
Lost yards, but it could have been worse.
Never allowed the top of his body to be too out in front of him or too far behind him. Just like really, really nice. And it was a great hit too.
No, it was. It was a great play. Yeah, there's a few of these guys out there. Another one is the QB school. That's another one everyone should go check out.
I feel like I've watched some of that.
I forget his name.
Or maybe something that just is branded in a similar fashion but isn't actually that.
Yeah, I forget his name, but it's like JP something. He played quarterback in the NFL. He played for a few guys, including Mike McCarthy. some other guys. In fact,
JP Losman.
That's exactly who I'm talking about. JP Losman. He's got a channel.
Mostly played for the Bills, I believe, but he did play for a few teams. Yep.
And he's got a channel on YouTube called The QB School. And he breaks shit down.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, it's like, it's the perfect scenario of what we're talking about, where this dude knows everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an incredibly intelligent, clearly didn't have the ability to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he just wasn't good. He was good enough to make it to the NFL and hold a job for several years. But what got him there was clearly his mind.
Right. Yes.
That's but man, I'm telling you, dude, this dude broke down offensive line schemes, and in one episode,
because Losman never had size to his advantage.
I don't
either.
think it actually is
JP
Losman. I don't actually think it's. I think it might be JT.
Okay. Because JP Losman is
JT
the one I remember.
Something. I don't know. It's the QB School. You guys can figure it out. You guys can put it in chat. It's the QB School. Great channel. The guy, I'm telling you, in one episode, he broke down O-line schemes for me, and I learned more in this. It was like a John Madden deal.
Okay.
It was like I learned more in this 15-minute breakdown than I've ever understood.
Sure.
In all of football, like in 30 years. And that's
anytime we encounter that, any of us with anything, it's not that like that's the first and only person that's ever had that understanding or presented it to us, but for whatever reason, this person did it in a language or in a manner that was able to, sink into us and actually be comprehended, where for whatever reason, sometimes it just, we're not able to absorb it. It bounces off of us instead of soaking in. Oof. This is a very physical game between two teams that see each other all the time and really don't like one another.
Yeah, this is the guy right
that's
here.
Been evident.
This is the channel. This is the guy right here.
So what's his name?
I don't see it.
That's what I've been looking for too. Like, I can find the show, I can't find the guy's name. Like,
yeah, let's see if we can find his name. Because here's what I'm saying. This dude knows his shit, dude.
JT O'Sullivan.
That's who it is, JT O'Sullivan.
And I believe that he would have been a backup quarterback for the Saints for a large period of time in his career during the late 80s, early 90s. I'm pretty sure I have some cards of him.
No,
I think
he's late 90s, early 2000s, because he played for Mike McCarthy, and I think he played for Mike McCarthy when Mike McCarthy was in San Francisco and Green Bay.
All right. You are right. It is early 2000s. But he did start his career with the Saints, 2002 to 2004.
Huh?
Yep.
Did he play for the Packers?
He did also play for the Packers in 2004.
And the Niners.
And the Niners.
Yep.
And the Bears and the Vikings and the Patriots and the Panthers and the Lions and the Bengals and the Chargers and the Raiders.
Yep.
And that's
he did play for the Vikings for a little bit.
And that's just the NFL teams. He played for the Frankfurt Galaxy twice and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Dude, and here's the thing is, like, the guy clearly wasn't very good at throwing the football.
Dude's like a massive quarterback whore.
Dude, and he clearly wasn't very good at throwing the football. But I'm telling you, when you listen to him break this stuff down, he's like a Tony Romo.
Sure.
Like, this is a guy who understands all of it. And is what I'm quickly understanding, because I never played in the NFL, obviously. But as I get to know more and more NFL players, including guys like him, Ezra Tuolo, who's already been on the podcast, I'm close friends with Mike Singletary. Like, when I get to know more of these NFL players and talk to them about the game, it boils down to only two things. Your actual physical ability is huge. But really, at the end of the day, it is chess. And that chess boils down to one thing: attention to detail. And the guys who are better at paying attention to the small details, and they have the ability with the talent to take advantage of it, unlike JT O'Sullivan, who he had the ability to see it all, but he didn't have the ability to throw the ball like Favre. He didn't have the ability to throw the ball like Rodgers.
I can
he
see
didn't
it
have
all,
the
I can
ability to
understand it all. I can't do it all. I don't physically possess the tools. Yep.
That's the difference.
I 100% agree with everything
That's what
you just
makes
said.
Tom Brady so fucking special.
Absolutely.
He's the smartest dude on the field in every game.
Yep.
And he has just enough ability to pull everything off every game, every championship game, except for 3. Except for 2 versus the
and
Giants and 1 versus the Eagles.
Only factor in wins and losses, just because he can be the primary factor, it is still a team game.
Right, but measured against quarterbacks.
He can't catch the passes that he throws in the air for 30, 40 times a game.
Correct.
When
he was doing that.
A lot of times.
Are you surprised he retired?
Well, and it's not official yet, from what I know. Everything I saw
pretty
yesterday,
much been confirmed now.
Everything I saw yesterday was Schefter's reporting it because he has sources that told him, and then like 2 to 4 hours later, everyone else was coming out saying Tom Brady has just contacted the general manager of the Bucs to let him know that he has not made a decision of any kind yet, but not to say that he won't make that decision, but just that like, hey, the whole I have decided isn't true, but what I'm deciding might still end up to be that. So once that happened, I just kind of checked out, and I'm like, all right, next time I see an actual like legit story of not like it's being reported from so-and-so that Tom Brady's retiring. When Tom Brady's agent actually releases a press announcement that says he's retired, then I will go, okay, yep, he's retired.
We got some good comments here. Dave says, I just want to see some good football. Aaron Donald.
Same.
And then
that's all I ever want.
But he follows up, Aaron Donald's first step seems to be faster than everyone else's first through third steps.
Yep. That is accurate. That is what makes him special.
Correct. Yeah, even though he's not the biggest dude on the football field, there's just something weird about him. Like he's built different. He is
considered undersized for his position.
Correct. As a DT?
Yep.
100%. Yep. Kyle says, if I don't see Beckham punch someone in the butt, this game's going to be a waste.
I like that.
I'm down with it.
Me too.
I'm down for it. I'm down for it.
I know that like what does everybody always nicknamed him, like OBJ or whatever. I've never called him that. I've always called him ODB Jr.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I always called him OBJ.
I've always called him ODB Jr. Probably just because like way earlier in my life there was an ODB already. And so like, no, there's no OBJ. You're just you're ODB Jr.
Yeah, these Instagram stories are getting creepier and creepier. I love them.
Bask in our flatulence. Welcome to Flatch. So it's a town called Flatch where everybody has flatulence issues, and that's the premise of the new Fox show. At least that's what I got out of that.
I wasn't paying attention,
maybe
so I
missed something.
I can't correct you.
If anybody in the comments could tell me if I missed something there in that, but like that's what I got is hey folks, Fox has a new show coming out. It takes place in a town called Flatch, and the reason the town's named Flatch is because everyone in it suffers from flatulence, which to the uneducated is farting. So, tune in, all new Sundays, 7:00 Fox. Or whatever time and day. That's definitely not 7:00 on Sundays. That's pretty sure that's Simpsons territory yet. Ooh. You don't mess with the Simpsons.
Man, that's a great cigar. All I smoke are great cigars. It took me 3 months on my second run as a cigar smoker. Spent about a year when I was in my early to mid 20s. forgot everything. Never really learned anything. I was too young. I was too stupid.
Sure.
It took me 3 months to zero in and figure out what makes cigars awesome. He's not even that big.
No, he's not. But if
They
you
keep
look,
saying big number 99.
two of those three highlights right there, he was lined up on the outside shoulder of the guard. As a defensive tackle, do you know how widely spread that is? It's crazy. But because he's so explosive, he can stunt that into the middle gap, or it allows people to have to go to him, and then the linebackers come up and fill that middle gap in the defense there. But it's so rare to have a piece that you can use that way in that position. It's almost like having a linebacker who's almost as big as a defensive tackle, and you're just like, okay, we're going to kind of create this hybrid position for you. Right. You know?
Well, here we go. Jimmy G dropped in shotgun. He makes a completion over the middle to Brandon
Those
Ayuk.
Clutch third downs.
Brandon Ayuk.
You know, they don't
First down.
They don't have the gaudy attempts or yards or even touchdowns, but they move the chains. They're efficient. The 49ers passing game is
Look at that
efficient.
ball and the way that came out, dude. And honestly, man, it didn't look like Jimmy G's
Quick,
index
tight.
finger
That's
was even
good
on the
coverage.
football.
I really want to acknowledge the quality in that coverage right there. Nothing about that coverage is bad.
It's 1st and 10 from 49ers 40. The Rams 41. Jimmy G's in shotgun. That's a weird offset shotgun. He's got fullback to his right. That's a shit.
That's going to be a loss of at least
That's
two.
a super weird formation, dude. Like, how do you even describe that formation?
To me, that's a pre-motion formation. And they just never did the motion in it. Like, to me, you come out in a formation like that, there is a guy that, like, he's designated to go in motion before the snap. You know, like, they're just trying to give a false look or manipulate, you know, numbers on a certain side.
Yeah, and that confused me, and it would have confused me if I was a defender.
But then they never relocated
Jimmy G
the guy.
under center. We got one wide receiver split to the left. Now they split out wide.
There's that classic
now we got
Shanahan motion.
4 wide receivers. We got 2 left, 2 right. Jimmy G out of shotgun in motion. And Deebo Samuel is going to pick up the screen pass as a first down for about a gain of what? 13?
Here's
14?
one thing I noticed 2 years ago.
First and 10.
2 years ago when the Niners lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl and were winning that game for the first 5/6 of it. When Shanahan's offense uses motion and different looks pre-snap than what they actually do at the snap, their offense is almost always unstoppable. 4 yards or more on every play, on script, head of the chains, well-oiled machine.
Debo's on the sideline for this play.
When they get away from using
Jimmy
that
G under
pre-snap
center,
motion,
single back, chips left.
Okay, we got motion.
We got Ayuk in motion to the right. Handoff up the middle. Elijah, is that Elijah Moore?
Well, Eli or Elijah. Yep, Eli or Elijah.
I said Elijah Moore. I meant Elijah Mitchell.
Oh, Mitchell, yes.
Sorry.
Elijah Moore, that was a nice pickup for part of
receiver.
Yep, that was.
I snapped him in fucking fantasy.
While he was healthy, he was a monster.
All right, here we go. 2nd and 10. There's 3:43 left in the third quarter. Jimmy G's going to sit out a shotgun. He's got a weird formation of trips left with an offset tight end to the right. Kittle rolls on a screen. It's pass over the middle, incomplete. Debo takes a nice little hit.
This is a big stand here because if the Niners if the Niners are held to a field goal, it's still an easy one possession, margin for the game where the Rams, can take the lead yet with a touchdown. However, if the Niners turn this into a touchdown, it's a 2-possession ball game. Totally different. Holding the field goal or letting the touchdown. Right now, the field goal is the odds-on favorite. But with guys like Debo and Kittle and even Ayuk, who I was big out of Arizona State, behind him, Debo,
it's going to be a first down.
That wasn't Debo. What a phenomenal job of picking up a couple.
That's not Debo,
No,
dude.
that's Jawan Jennings.
That's Jennings over the middle.
Jawan Jennings, I believe,
Here's
the
your replay.
first-year receiver.
Here's your replay,
out of
guys.
Oregon.
Over the middle, Jimmy G out of shotgun. He comes right over the middle.
Passes
right
behind
over the
him.
middle. It's a terrible throw. But Jawan Jennings with a nice catch.
And he fights through three guys running backwards.
Make sure to fall forward for the first time.
Backwards.
All right, so here we are. Jimmy G under center. It's 1st and 10 on the Rams 15. It's a pitch up the middle. Elijah Mitchell's actually going to lose a yard and bring up 2nd and 11 on the right hash.
Jennings is either out of Oregon or Tennessee. I feel like there were 2 receivers with the same name in that draft class.
I've never met anyone that didn't feel better after a fart, even if it turned out to be more than a fart.
So you're looking forward to tuning into the debut episode of Flatch. I can only assume.
All right, here we are, 2nd and 11. Jimmy G out of shotgun on the fucking Rams 16. He's got 1 wide receiver left, 2 wide, 2 right. Sorry. It's a
That's
fade
wide open.
Kittle
goes up and gets it.
To Kittle. It's going to be a touchdown. Oh,
that's such a massive difference.
Mother of Mary. The San Francisco 49ers have just taken a 16-7 lead with 1:59 left in the third quarter. Anyone serving overseas and hanging out with us, because this is the only possibility of you catching this game, we love you. We appreciate your service.
My cautionary...
That's the main reason for doing this, by the way, is motherfuckers who are hanging out overseas and they can't watch the game because of whatever fucked up NFL coverage they have.
My cautionary tale.
Oh, shit.
Snap.
They missed the extra point. No, they made it?
What? That went through?
That looked like they missed it.
That did not look like it went through.
It looked like he missed it.
The brown looked like it went in front of the yellow on that, not behind it. Like, yeah, I don't know. Still, though, the difference between a field goal there with a 6-point lead and a touchdown with a 10 is massive. The cautionary tale that I would remind all 49ers fans of, though, is we have seen this before. You guys had a commanding lead in the driver's seat of the Super Bowl 2 years ago, and you gave it all away.
But you did. You know what you didn't have?
Experience?
Oh, sorry. Well, the way I'm saying this is weird. You know what you had? Patrick Mahomes.
Ah, true. The opponent factoring in the competition. Absolutely.
There is no Patrick Mahomes. Now, it is Matt Stafford, though. It is Matt Stafford, and the Vikings have seen Matt Stafford do this twice a year, multiple times.
I feel like that's very relevant, but I do also feel that given experience is something that can be learned from, that now that the Niners have gone through that, they are better prepared to avoid going through that again. But that is not to say that they won't.
No,
that is just to say that they should be better prepared to not make the same mistakes that they did against the Chiefs.
No, you might be right.
But whether they will or won't, that's why we
was
watch.
The same coach.
That's why we watch, is to see whether they will or they won't.
It was the same coach.
Yep. Same regime, same quarterback, same a lot of stuff.
Have the Vikings hired Jim Harbaugh yet? Chat.
That would be awesome if this turned into the Jim Harbaugh hiring celebration.
Oh my god!
As opposed to just Championship
please
Sunday.
Tell me Queefy knows how to hire people. Because I'm not stoked about this new GM.
See, he wasn't my first choice. I wanted the Chiefs guy, Poles, who went to the Bears. He was my top choice.
Me too. Ryan Poles?
Yep. He was my top choice. But that said, if for whatever reason he were to become unavailable or not an option, the guy we got, quasi, you are the quasi-evil. That's what we should call him, quasi-evil, semi-evil. You're the Diet Coke. I'm gonna
try something. I'm gonna drop some sriracha into my beer.
I really liked a lot about him.
Do you think this is crazy? Should I drop sriracha into my beer?
I think it's gonna be a trend. I really like a lot about the guy that the Vikings did get for GM. There are like two things that, I'm not so big on.
Shit.
Picking Baker Mayfield at number 1, which I don't even know how big of a part he was for that yet. But also, and even a little more so,
I keep dropping my stir stick.
Hiring Kareem Hunt when you have no need for a running back so soon after what he did, that's really the only kind of red flag with the
Which
new guy.
worked out.
Which exactly, in hindsight, it worked out fine. But so like that's really the only one where I'm like, I don't like where the decision came from, but the results were still favorable, and all that really matters is the results.
All right, sriracha in the beer. Here we go.
But I'm optimistic with the new GM. I'm very optimistic.
But what do you think
GM.
about the sriracha in the beer?
Like I said, I think it's going to become a trend. I think it makes sense.
It's not enough. We need more sriracha in the beer.
See.
All right.
See. But I really like the idea of balance, of not just being all in on football guys or being all in on analytical guys or whatever box you kind of want to put a person's philosophical views and habits in. I like balance. I think that's how you consistently arrive at the desired results year after year, and not just for a brief period, a moment in the sun like the Eagles a couple years ago, and then it just all as instantly as it came disappears.
It's not enough. Need way more sriracha in the beer.
So I like the idea of having someone that's a little less of a traditional football guy, a guy that's just straight up smart in all aspects of thinking and thought process.
Is what I don't like though is this idea that he's like, well, I base my information based on data points. So basically, what you're saying is you just do what everyone else is doing.
Exactly.
I don't want a guy. I don't want a record executive who's going to go, well, if new metal's popular, we're going to sign new metal bands. If metalcore is popular, we're going to sign metalcore bands.
Why don't we just assign the job to the computer then? Why do we need a person? Why do we need a human being?
Thank you. I want a guy who's going to decide Greta Van Fleet is going to pop before Greta Van Fleet has popped because they're against the trend. That's the guy I want.
Right. Because I love that point, and I agree with that point that anybody can read a data chart, anybody can follow trends. All these things are very easily and just have interchangeable pieces.
Right, because running a football team is about measuring chemistry and human will. It's not about measuring data points like stocks. That's what bugs the shit out of me.
I feel like all of it can be used.
Listen, man.
I don't feel like anything's unusable. I don't feel like any of that stuff's completely unusable.
That Moneyball shit never won a goddamn motherfucking World Series. It got a movie made about it.
But it might have won 20 more games a year for that team 10 years in a row than without it.
Cool. So if you want to be profitable, if you want to be a profitable business and make it to the playoffs every year, cool. Do that.
Yep. But
just
if
you want to be a champion, analytics and this Moneyball shit, it's not going to work.
Well, it can't be the only driving force in your factor, and it probably shouldn't even be the primary one. It should just be a voice in the room at the table to be represented and be heard and incorporated into the decision making.
The sriracha's working.
That stuff is just incorporated into the decision making, but it does not control the decision making. Okay,
but here's the problem I have with it, Scotty.
Other element.
But here's the problem I have with it, right? Is the analytics is simple to follow when it says this guy's not worth $20 million a year.
Yep.
Right? Yep. But is what it doesn't say is that this guy may not be worth $4 million a year based on his production, but what he brings as a 40-year-old to the locker room can't be measured in data or dollars.
Yep.
Sorry, man. You're out as a GM. Because you can't do that. You can't be the guy who's Jimmy Johnson, right? And he has Troy Aikman, and he has Emmitt Smith, and he goes, you know what I need? I need a fiery son of a bitch in my locker room. I need somebody who's going to rile people up and rub people the wrong way. I'm drafting Michael Irvin. There was way better receivers than Michael Irvin. but Michael Irvin was the personality he needed to balance that locker room. That's what Queefy Odinenigme, whatever the fuck his goddamn name is, can't fucking do, but Jim Harbaugh can, which is desperately why I'm saying, please fucking hire Jim fucking Harbaugh.
Yeah, well, I feel like casual fans try to oversimplify what analytics say too, in the sense that we get really caught up in just that, oh, well, the analytics from this time to this time say that if it's 4th and 2, you should go for it because of this percentage, whatever. Fine, but what those analytics don't say or incorporate is that you're down by 2, there's 3 fucking seconds left in the game, and you've got the ball on their 5-yard line, and if you kick the field goal, you win. The analytics don't incorporate that. They will still say that going for it on 4th and 2, is the proper choice. So I feel like we oversimplify what the conclusions of a lot of these analytics and data points are, and don't always apply them into their right contextual situation, and just try to use them as a massive blanket for all situations. Do you understand what I'm saying there? Okay. Yep. And that's where I side with the football guys and the football minds, but there's a time and a place for all of it. And so to me, if you can melting pot all of these things into just more tools in your toolbox, then you're like a Patriots. You're like a Belichick. It's like, now we don't pick players to fit our system. We mold our system to fit the players we have.
Right.
Then you're dealing in that kind of a thing. That is so much more sustainable of a plan and format for success. That's what I like.
I'm with you.
That's what I like.
Buckle up. You ready?
Hell yeah.
Buckle up, buckaroo. What do you guys think? Okay, I already know where I side on this, so I'm gonna let you speak on it mostly, because I just simply agree with something that's already been said here. Okay, so buckle up, buckaroo. What do you guys think about the rule of the ball crossing the plane? Boom, touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
However, if the player is in the end zone but jumps to catch the ball, he has to control the ball.
It's hypocritical
in order to
bullshit.
come down.
I've been on this for years.
I disagree. Now listen. Backer side of the end zone.
Wait. I'm sorry. Rewind just like a sentence. I think I missed something important.
Backer side of the end zone, it's not a touchdown. But the same deal, ball's in the plane. Why should one count but not the other? I feel, this is Kyle, I feel to see more hard fought for points. The player and the ball should have to be in the end zone.
Yep.
The same standard in front of the end zone as well as the sides and the back.
Yep.
What do you two think? Okay, now I'm going to let you rant, but I immediately agree with the next comment.
Yep.
If a runner crosses the plane of the goal line, they were already established inbounds with control of the... This is so perfectly worded.
Yes, this is where I was going to go with
Dave
it.
Dave has so perfectly worded this.
That's why he's super Dave. That's why he's not just Dave.
If a runner crosses the plane of the goal line, they were already established inbounds with possession of the ball. Therefore, as soon as they cross the goal line, instant touchdown.
Correct.
However, if the receiver catches a ball in the end zone, he has to come down with possession and control and has to establish himself in bounds before it can be counted as a possession and a score.
Yep. And that was the first place I was going to go with it, is just in general, you cannot establish possession of the ball in the air. Period. You have to be on the ground to establish an official...
Rams just scored a touchdown. Cooper Kupp left side of the end zone.
To be officially recognized as having possession of the ball, you need to be on the ground.
That was a great question, and Dave...
It was a fantastic question and answer.
Dave beat me to the exact wording of the answer. All right, here we go. Here's your touchdown. Stafford drops back. He's in shotgun. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Here goes your full 10-second replay. Cooper Kupp just beats him.
And great timing with that pass, too. Where I was thinking it was going to go that it didn't, when I brought up hypocrisy.
In the light beer, by the way, light beer, add a little sriracha, stir that shit up, get it mixed up real good. Ooh, that is tits. Tits, you guys, tits. Sriracha in the beer is legit.
So where I thought it was going to go that it didn't and brought up the hypocrisy was specifically in regards to the process that the receiver has to go through in that situation compared to the process that the running back has to go through. To me,
but the process has already been established way before he crosses the goal line. That's the difference.
But to me, there's about 2 extra things on the list for the receiver that really shouldn't be there if you meet the fundamental first 3 or so. You know, you need to have control of the ball with both feet in bounds and be across the goal line. Once those 3 things have happened, you should be considered established as a runner with possession of the ball who has crossed the plane of the goal line, and the play should be over. And any slight little adjustment of the ball in your hands or whatever after that point in time should be deemed irrelevant and not you failing to maintain possession throughout the entire process.
You're saying when they go to the ground.
When the play is determined over for the receiver is what I find hypocritical and would adjust a little bit. And that's where I thought it was going, and it didn't. But I completely would keep it where, like, no, you have to be on the ground with the ball to be recognized as having possession of the ball. Like that to me is a fundamental of the sport, and we can't really.
And this was debatable because there was the push-out rule.
Yep.
The Vikings missed the playoffs.
Well remember it. Yep.
Based on this push-off rule.
Exactly.
Well, he would have come down with it.
When they changed it, yeah.
Yeah, well, guess what, bitch? He didn't come down with it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, no. It gets weird. It gets weird, man. And right now, I think the NFL has done a great job of course correcting back to the mean. Because, man, they went way too far to the left.
Yep.
Or the right, however you want to look at it.
I do applaud them for making efforts to improve areas that they think could be improved.
Sure.
But also, I applaud them for fairly quickly usually recognizing when those efforts don't work or are counterproductive.
Stir it up.
Sriracha
in the beer.
The league, when they do those changes, they don't hang on to bad decisions the way that general managers do. A general manager will hang on to a bad offseason decision, usually 1 or 2 seasons too long. The league, they don't do that. It's like, yeah, we did the whole review interference for 1 season. It didn't work. We got fucking rid of it.
Penalty reviews?
Yes.
Or actually, no, it was touchdown reviews, and then the Vikings got fucked on this. It was versus the Packers. The Vikings scored a touchdown, and they called some weird illegal blocking on Dalvin Cook on the touchdown replay. And
I remember
no
that.
Touchdown.
Yes.
They said no touchdown.
We're going to call a penalty after watching the replay that we didn't call on the field in the game of play.
Correct.
I remember that.
Within 2 days, the NFL issued a statement. That's not going to be a thing anymore.
Yep. That was a one-time deal. Our bad.
They fucked that up really bad, dude. Jimmy G drops back under center. He pumps. Almost gets sacked.
Over the middle, yards after
makes
catch.
A completion to number 15.
Mitchell.
Oh, that's number 25, Elijah Mitchell. Sorry, I thought it was 50.
Conversion.
It wasn't easy, but it looked easy. He pumped, almost got sacked, and made the completion to his drop down. This is what I think Kirk Cousins fails to do so often.
Yes.
Makes the pump, boom, would have gotten sacked. But instead, Jimmy G makes the check down. Here it goes. You guys can see it. Elijah Mitchell, simple check down. Looks like an easy play, not an easy play.
If that's the Vikings with Kirk Cousins gets the ball to the running back.
Incomplete. It's incomplete.
If that's Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, the ball gets out of Kirk's hands and to the running back about a half a second later than what Jimmy just got it to Eli. And that's where those extra 6 or 7 yards after the catch came, when there only should have been about 3 to 5 yards after the catch, is just the speed at which you are processing the info and making your decisions. And Spielman even brought that up in one of his post-departure interviews, was that something he's learned in this whole experience was just like measuring intelligence and of quarterbacks especially, and how that Kirk could come into a room and wow you with how he could explain and draw everything up on a chalkboard. But when he's on the field in the middle of it live time, it takes him a half a second longer to recognize it and react to it than it does.
Listen,
when
y'all,
he's
I'm telling you, man,
the boardroom.
like we're deep into
and you
football.
don't have that extra half a second.
Listen, we're deep into football talk, but I can't stop talking about the sriracha and the beer.
Did I not say it was going to? If
Bro,
nothing else today, I correctly predicted the sriracha beer.
The trick is
combo.
you only pour a little bit of beer in, you drop a little sriracha so you have enough space to stir it, because you got to get the sriracha mixed up in the beer.
Yep. Again,
I'm telling you, man, I'm about
balance.
to make a home brew, and I brew some beer, so I'm about to make a home brew with some fucking sriracha in it. Like, this is about to happen. All right, Kyle's got another statement.
Okay.
He said he's thought about this for years. He just looked at it as a touchdown, never thought about it as receiver catch a ball and then staying inbound. I should have asked this a long time ago, he said.
No, it was a great question.
I think it is a great question because it's still up for debate now.
Absolutely.
This is every year. This is a legitimate debatable thing
and
in the competition community. You're not smooth brain. You're not being a dummy.
Well, and no, exactly.
Like, this is super legitimate, and guys are making an argument in the NFL right now for exactly what you said.
And that's what I was going to get to.
There's guys that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to make the argument you're making right now. This isn't even
about what's the right answer or what's the wrong answer. This is about how do you think it should be, and why do you think it should be that way.
Yep.
You know, and you're not alone in thinking that it should be a different way. Right. You know, possibly. So, no, I thought it was great, Kyle.
No, that's a great question, man. Because it has legitimately been a debate for a while.
Ball came out even. I think they're going to
LA's
say he was down. I think they're going to say he was down.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, either way, LA's getting the football. Still, I'd rather have it at dang near the 50 than pulling their left tackle. That's ill-advised. If you're going to pull your left tackle, you pull him out to the left, bro. You don't make him cross the entire line.
It depends, dude. I've seen it.
For 1 yard, yeah. Rocket for 1 to 2. I think that was more like a 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, though.
Dude, that's deja vu. That is a crazy deja vu moment just now for me. Like, I swear to God, you and I have had this exact argument before.
Very possible.
Because I've seen that done before in work, and I've heard you argue, no, you only do that on like maybe 4th and 1.
2 yards. That's a 2 yard play. You pull your tackle to the opposite side of the line that he's lined up on.
Right, but you have
basically a trap. It's basically a wide trap.
A wide trap, exactly. Because every other person is pulling to the left. Not pulling.
So
they're
you get the
stunting
motion
to the
going.
left.
Yep, exactly. You get all that motion going this way. You've got the one. He's basically acting as a fullback or a tight end. Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Yep.
That is a very reliable 2 yard play.
Yep. And it only works if you have a fullback. And honestly, this is if you really want to get into football scheming. I don't know if everybody can see my hands here. So you have your O-line, and you have your left tackle. Sorry, he'd be down here. Let me get over into the camera. So you'd have your left tackle pulling to the right. The idea is when he pulls to the right, your left tackle your entire line stunts to the left.
And that's what the defense is reading, so they go with that.
Exactly.
They follow those guys.
And he's supposed to pull over and take this backside blitzer. However, this only works if you already have a fullback on the offset to the right side. So he actually takes the actual offside blitzer, which creates a gap, and then you have a linebacker or a safety coming down to fill that gap, and that's where that right tackle comes to blindside. Literally, he has to literally come out of nowhere and blindside that blitzing safety or linebacker coming down. And if you look at the leverage angles, so the safety is coming down, right? So your left tackle comes over and blitzes him back the way he came, Or you have a linebacker coming off this direction, which is really what the play is designed for. Your left tackle is going to come over, and as they collide, that momentum brings him away from the ball, away from the center of the field, which finally opens up the middle of the field and gives you this brilliant little seam for if you're lucky, anywhere between a 2 to a 12-yard scamp, but it's not going to be a home run hit. No, it's just not the way that play is designed.
The play call setup.
That was a lot
defense,
of words to talk about. 2 yards.
But it's all, you were all correct in everything. And the one other piece though then is that was all our chess pieces. Now we got to look at the other team's chess pieces too. If the other team's chess pieces are in a zone, that play is going to work like a mofo. Because now all of a sudden you're getting an extra person on the side of the ball that you're running to. You've got an extra lead rocker. If the defense, however, is in man coverage, there's going to be a guy following that left tackle as he pulls. That left tackle is leading that defender to the ball. That's where the left tackle's going. That defender can come off the blocker at any time and go to pursue the ball carrier. Or the ball, okay? So in any situation that you're running the ball and using motion, if the defense is in a zone, you want to motion your guy or pull your guy in this case to the side that you are running the ball. If the defense is in man, you want to pull or motion your guy away from where you are running the ball.
That makes sense.
So
that makes total sense.
So and so, given the result of that play, I would assume, without looking back at it, that the defense was in man coverage, and there was just simply a guy that was tracking the pulling lineman the whole time anyway, and could just easily read the play and come off of it as a result. Where he didn't fall.
All right, here we go.
He didn't
4th
fall
and
for
2.
all the other guys stunting.
Here we go. 4th and 2. Jimmy G under center. We got 2 wide receivers right, 1 wide receiver left. Sorry, I flipped that around. 2 left, 2 right. No, now it's in motion. We got 2 right, 1 left.
It's a big decision. Are they just going for the free first down? Going to call timeout? Yep. They're taking the penalty.
They're taking the penalty. They're going to punt. That's a smart play.
I think that's smart. I think that stays consistent.
That's a smart play.
I think it stays consistent with the game up until this point too, on just kind of the strategies, the flow of the game, being more possession, lower scoring. That favors the Niners. It's been how it's been playing out, and it's worked for them. So keep it in their favor. I agree with that. Don't be overly aggressive. And don't get me wrong. 10 minutes of game time from now, we could be looking at that and going, "Damn, that was the wrong decision." But at the time, it made the most sense, I think, and that's all you can really go with or based off of.
Super Dave in chat says, I think Von Miller's got to step up against the Bucs. He seemed to be beating his guy on the outside almost every time, forcing the QB to step up into Donald. I would agree with that, except for what I've been watching is that Von Miller's being chipped and his timing is being upset every single play, which is a brilliant, and I mean brilliant decision by Shanahan on the offensive side of the scheme. So they're pulling people.
Yep.
They're shading people. Shading is a difficult concept to describe without breaking down film. But they're basically chipping him, shading people, and pulling people over to his direction to make sure that he doesn't have the ability to actually do anything. And ironically, is what they're doing is they're actually leaving Aaron Donald
Stafford
open.
Deep. Oh my God, he's not picked.
It's not picked.
Joe Buck, you are a terrible announcer.
He said it's picked.
You said it was picked before the ball even got to the
Buck
defender.
Said it's picked, and it didn't get picked. It bounced off his chest. Here's your replay. Here's your 10-second replay, fam.
Easy. Interceptions do not get any easier than this in the NFL.
Literally into his chest.
And number 3 just flat out dropped it and then couldn't even catch it. Off the bounce of his chest rebound. When he realized what was happening,
and you gave Matt Stafford a second chance,
and that was just a 1st and 10 deep
and
shot.
He goes
so
deep
now they got
again,
the ball
and it's
back.
Complete to Odell Beckham Jr.
Wow!
And there's a flag, and there's a flag for a late hit.
I feel like ODB Jr. didn't catch that clean either. That it took a bounce at first, and then he caught it as he was getting hit.
Nope, it hit him right in the chest. Caught, boom.
No, he never lost. That was stuck to his
Caught.
hands like glue the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I
That
seen.
was the camera view.
And
the hit to the
gets
head.
an extra 15 yards.
And
we
the
missed the
helmet to
replay.
helmet.
Sorry, guys.
Oh my gosh.
We missed the replay, but you can see somebody complaining about it. Sorry, guys. I apologize. I'm going to try to be a little bit more on it. Oh. Now you can see a little helmet to helmet. Yeah, you got an extra 15 at the end there.
It was an undeniable helmet to helmet penalty. I don't feel that there was anything dirty or intentional about it, but based off of the rule, you can't argue that it's a penalty. Great throw, great catch, great play calling.
All right, here we go. Stafford from the Niners, 41. Stafford's under center, single back formation. He's got two wide receivers.
I like the Van
right.
Jefferson kid, by the way.
Oh, Van Jefferson's huge, and he's going to be stuffed
Akers
up the middle
lost
for
to
no
one?
game.
No gain?
No gain.
Oh yeah, if you're number 3, Jay Tart for the Niners, it's hard to move past that drop to interception.
His name's Jay Tart. And
well, I don't know what his first name is. I just know that it starts with the letter J. His last name's Tart with 2 T's at the end.
I just can't get over the fact that I watched this
So I just call
show.
him Jay Tart.
I watched this show called Ted Lasso.
Oh yeah, Jason Sudeikis. Yep.
And there's a player in there called Jamie Tart.
Okay.
And that little theme they do, Jamie Tart, do 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 do.
You're stealing my takes, Joe Buck. Lawsuits in the
All right,
mail.
here we go. We got Stafford sitting on a shotgun.
Trips right.
He's got trips right. One wide receiver left. And it looks like a wide receiver screen to the right side. Cooper Kupp's going to accept that.
That's right.
He's going to catch that and bring it for a 15-yard gain all the way down to the Niners 25 for a first down.
That is a very basic designed wide receiver screen where the intended target is one of 3 wide receivers on his line of the ball. So he simply fakes either an up or an out motion and then starts coming back inside, and he's got 2 blockers.
Stafford pumps, he goes deep.
That's the beautiful thing about a screen, wide receiver screen out of a trips formation like that, as opposed to like a more base formation, is you've already got the blockers out in front of you before they need to be. Whereas when you're trying to get your offensive line doing it, it takes more time to develop that and get your pieces in place on the field.
Well, and is what really worked about that screen specifically is Kupp was on the outside. And he came in, forward.
Exactly. Yep.
So he already had forward momentum. So all the blockers had to do was just get in the way.
Yep, exactly.
They didn't even have to make their blocks.
Quite
they just
often
had to get
on
in the
a
way.
successful screen,
Stafford out of shotgun again. Here we are.
That's
on the 49ers 25. Not a delay game. They're going to let him get the ball off.
They've been flexible with that.
They're going to give him an 8-yard gain. That's going to bring up 3rd and 2. It was a completion on the right-hand side of the field. That looked like it went to OBJ again. Here comes Jack Dash, Sean McVay with this 3rd and 3 call.
Definitely seems like they look to Van Jefferson and Odell more for the downfield routes and really like to use Cooper Kupp's yards after the catch.
DeMeco Ryans,
shorter, quicker stuff.
DeMeco Ryans, the 49ers defensive coordinator. This guy seems like he might be the real deal.
He's doing a pretty great job against what's usually a pretty great Rams offense. And did the same against what's usually a pretty great Packers offense last week.
Wow. On 3rd and 3, Sony Michel gets swept up on the screen for a loss of 5.
That is a bizarre play call.
It's going to bring up 4th and 8. Rams are going to have to go for a field goal.
From a usually very progressively aggressive Rams coaching standpoint and play calling standpoint, that was a bizarre, safe, humble play call in that situation, in my opinion. Like, how do you not just hit Higbee on the 5-yard curl over the middle for easy first down conversion on that? I don't.
It's good. We got a tie game, guys. Tie game, 4th quarter, 6:49 left in the game. 17-17. Here we go. Woo! All right, I'm going to grab another beer.
You know, the NFL
I need
couldn't
more
be happier.
sriracha.
The NFL couldn't be happier with these playoff games.
Oh, I agree.
Tie games and close contests in the fourth quarter, week after week, game after game.
COVID pandemic.
They couldn't frickin' be happier with the way all of this is playing out, game to game, week to week, regardless of who wins and who loses. That's just, that is what it is.
The NHL wishes they could do this.
Oh,
did you know that?
True story.
Did you know that NHL? Did you know? I swear to God. Did you know that NHL? Their scheduling is still to this day done by one guy, and it's however he decides it's done.
Unbelievable.
There's an entire division of people at the NFL that coordinate schedules for entertainment value.
Yeah.
And parity. And competition.
Yep.
There's one guy
it is a
in
group
the NHL.
of people. There's more than one voice in the room making those decisions, and that ties back to things from our first broadcast today and other things we've always talked about
on this very masculine podcast. This is a podcast for men.
You got that upper thigh stick going on.
This is a podcast for men, and the nuts needed to be adjusted, and we do that shit publicly.
If there was this
isn't ESP fucking N.
Here's a big if for you. Okay, if
you're not smoking that cigar, I'm going to smoke it.
By all means, if there was a specifically designed male spatula for nut relocation, is that something, if reasonably priced, you would purchase? Nope. Okay, all right.
I didn't even need you to finish the sentence. No, because I have something for free called my goddamn hand. And even if I'm pre-date and I'm worried about me grabbing my sweaty balls and stinking them up, I can wash them for free in the sink at any restaurant with free soap.
And I was just thinking that, given the new pandemic-inspired germ-conscious society
it's still
we
my
have,
own testicles.
That maybe I could turn it into a stupid money-making scheme. I just won't market it to you.
Terrible businessman.
I just won't market it to you.
Okay, note to self.
The ads will skip your feed.
Note to self, never invest in Scotty Ball's schemes. Because his schemes involve shit I could pay for.
That is sound advice.
Or get for free.
That is sound advice.
My schemes, on the other hand, make money. Scotty's are ridiculous
my schemes
and humorous.
Make laughs. That's what that's the purpose of my schemes.
They're adorable and hilarious, but they're total wastes of money.
Yes.
All right, so the key is half a glass of beer.
God.
And your desirable amount of sriracha. Otherwise, you can't stir it because it's impossible to stir sriracha into a beer.
Oh, the mixology going on here is worth more than the price of admission.
No, it's not. Don't patronize me, you son of a bitch.
Well, there's no admissions free, so.
Oh, but damn, that is good. A light beer with some sriracha in it. Fuck me, man. Woo!
That's worth a penny.
Woo! I'll here's the thing is I'll just make this beer and then charge you double and you'll pay it.
See, that's where his schemes actually make money and are good ideas.
I'll make the same beer, I'll add sriracha to it, and I'll charge you double.
Brilliant. Second and 10 from their own 25 for the 49ers offense in a tie game. 17-17 with 6:45 to go. Oh, that's egregious. Yep. When it's close, like the Rams had it before. No, honestly, I didn't know this until a week or two ago, but I actually stumbled on it accidentally, did a little research, and went, oh, wow. The NFL Rules Committee and the Commissioner's Office have instructed the refs to have a reasonable amount of just human leeway time on enforcing the delay of game penalty. Just because the clock hit 0 does not mean you need to throw the flag.
They've talked about this.
They have said this is an actual thing.
They've talked about this,
so stop complaining and taking your screenshots, of the clock being at 0 and the ball not being snapped. As long as it's...
Jimmy G rolls out to his right. He's evading pressure, and
That's a pit. Oh.
Oh, it should have been intercepted.
Ramsey had that covered like an all-pro.
So what you're talking about is been explained vividly.
Yep. But
So-
just having some having a little bit of natural human leeway.
If the ref
with
looks
that.
down and the ball is not snapped, and then he looks up and the clock has striked 0, and then he looks back down to the ball, but the ball has been snapped,
He
they
does
let
not
them
need-
go.
Yep, exactly.
They let them go.
That is the perfect way to describe that or sum that up. Yep. At least that's how they're doing it.
That's
And
how
their
they're
policy.
describing
Yep,
it
that's their policy.
publicly.
Yep, that's their policy. It's like, all right. Jesus, San Francisco.
That was a little egregious, that one.
Well, for me, that
shit.
one was the center going, holy shit, we're going to get 2 of these in 3 plays. I need to snap the ball even though I know the quarterback's not ready. Oh.
Let's go L.A. Let's go L.A.
Here's Shanahan's Niners doing their trademark collapse in the fourth
Look
quarter
at
of a game
Jimmy
that
G,
they've been
though.
in the driver's seat
Look
of.
at Jimmy G, though, being a real quarterback, evading pressure.
Absolutely.
Kirk Cousins wouldn't have done that.
Throwing the ball cross body, still at least giving his team a chance. No.
Nice punt. Nice
I respect
punt.
Jimmy G. I genuinely respect Jimmy G. I have nothing against
Dude, like
Jimmy
I said,
G.
man, I know a bunch of people in the game, dude, and they're like, dude, you don't understand how charming this dude is.
Jimmy G might not be one
I
of
even
the
heard-
5 to 10 most talented quarterbacks. So what?
Let me put it this way.
So
what I'm saying is so valid. I'm not even the only one saying this on the internet. Alex Boone said this.
Okay, yep.
Alex Boone said this when he's doing the Purple Daily shit.
Yep. I hate
He's
that
like-
guy, but he's not wrong all
Right,
the time. So
Right, and he played for San Francisco,
Yep,
so he's got boys over there.
Exactly.
He's got friends over there
Yep.
like I do. And he said the exact same thing, word for word. You don't understand how charismatic this dude is. It doesn't matter if you're a G from the hood, you love Jimmy G.
Yep.
It doesn't matter if you're a preppy white boy from the suburbs, you love Jimmy G. It doesn't matter if you're a blue-collar white dude from Detroit, you love Jimmy G.
What a man. Look at this block. Oh, right upside the face with the helmet. I don't think anything got called.
Everybody loves Jimmy G. There's a reason he's kept that job.
You
People
ever see
love this
Jimmy
guy.
G as a chick in that
Yeah.
freaking internet thing? He's hot.
He's gorgeous.
Like, I'm just saying.
So was Tom
Dude's a
Brady,
hot
by the way,
chick.
though.
Like,
So was Tom Brady, though. Just saying. Kirk Cousins was the only one I was
Yeah,
like,
he was
I'd
kinda
pass.
off.
I'd pass on Kirk Cousins.
I think him and Andy Dalton, were the ones who were just like, yeah, no thanks, I'll pass.
Oh, there was a bunch of them, but those were the two that were.
Stafford extending the play with his legs a little bit there.
They're not going to
Completed
give him
to
the
Van
first down. But,
Jefferson.
oh, what a fucked
That's a bad spot. I'm not saying the spot.
What a fucked spot. No, watch it. Here it comes. The ball is completed right at the
there.
line.
Yep, right
And
at
they
that
gave it
hash
to him,
mark. And they gave him there.
No, they gave him a yard behind that.
Behind that yet?
Yeah, watch. See? Look. They gave him a yard behind that.
Wow.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, though,
Yep.
because Matt Stafford!
Really impressed with Stafford's,
I'm not.
mobility when needed.
I'm not.
Not everything. I'm
not impressed. Impressed implies that you're surprised. This is what I've expected from Stafford. This is what I've already seen Stafford do.
I'm speaking
for 20 years.
specifically to a mobility standpoint on those plays where he's under pressure, not from anything that he accomplishes
I'm just trying to
with his
argue
arm.
with you.
I
I'm
gotcha.
just trying to contradict.
I gotcha.
Whatever you say, I'm just going against it.
Hey, that's how it's supposed to be on this type of shit.
All right, nice handoff.
Like
That's a
literally,
solid
we're just
3-yard
supposed
game.
to look at the script 5 minutes before we get on this and go, okay, I'm gonna take the 4 on this, and this, and you take the against on this, and this. Like that's how it works if you're watching ESPN or NFL Network or any of that stuff.
Yep. No, it's literally just debate class.
Yep.
Like it's literally debate class, and that's why I have zero respect for Stephen A. Smith. Because I don't think he takes it like debate class where he's like given an argument. I think he just makes shit up and loses credibility because he puts his entire reputation on the line. I'm surprised Joe Rogan didn't knock him out after the Conor McGregor fight. when he put his hands on Joe Rogan.
I don't like about Steven is like he over-exaggerates when not necessary.
Correct.
Like it's okay to over-exaggerate sometimes to prove a point or something like that, but literally everything that he ever says is an over-exaggeration. I'm just picking an extreme of the spectrum that we're talking about, and that's what I'm doing.
All right, here we go. 3rd and 3. Stafford out of shotgun. He drops back. He's going to throw to his right. It's complete to Cooper Kupp, who breaks his tackle. He breaks another tackle up the middle. He's down to the San Francisco 11-yard line. It's going to be 1st and 10. 1st and 10 at the San Francisco 11.
And now I think we're back to the philosophical conversation that we were having in the first game of if you're the team on defense now, do you just want to let them score as fast as possible? You know?
In this game, no. No.
And I brought it up because like, to me it's always different situation by situation.
Jimmy G isn't Joe Burrow. Jimmy G isn't Joe Burrow. Right? Like, I'm trying to slow this team down, field goal, exactly what you argued in the first game. Because I don't think Jimmy G's going to march down the field.
To me, because Jimmy G isn't Joe Burrow, which I agree with you on, that means he needs as much time as humanly possible left on that clock.
And the difference is this game is tied. So
right, yes,
if you let them score, you're letting them score to hope to tie.
And that's my whole point. And
totally
even bringing up all of this is not
totally
like
different scoring formula.
Is not like what's the right answer. It's just like what are all the things that we are factoring into our decisions.
Right.
When
and the
we
last
make a
game,
decision.
the last game.
That's what interests me. That's what
why
interests
I
me.
said let them score is because they go up by 4, but you have the ability to march down the field and win the game. This game's tied. So if you let them score, you're marching down the field to tie the game.
You're committing to a 2-point conversion for the win.
Oh, sure.
You know?
Yep.
But either way, you're putting all your eggs into one big basket. You know, you're going big or going home.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fair comparison. These two games are not comparable.
Well, just not from a game standpoint, but just from finding yourself in a situation where the time and the score, you know, are playing extra factors. Sure. Into how you approach things or how you make decisions.
The situations aren't comparable.
Sure.
But I do think the matchups and the teams and the games matter because these are divisional opponents.
Yeah.
This is like watching Bears-Vikings. This is like watching Lions-Vikings. This is like watching Packers-Vikings.
Cowboys-Eagles if they were ever both in the playoffs.
Yeah, like traditional rules.
Sorry, I had to get that shot in.
No, I got you. Traditional rules get thrown by the wayside. This is a divisional matchup. This is the third time these teams have faced each other this year.
And again, another example, though, where if you're just taking the blanket analytics, you're not looking at the divisional elements that are unique to this actual matchup. You're only looking at the general playoff numbers.
And I think
you're only looking at the all 32 teams numbers.
Right.
You know, like who cares what the odds are when we're factoring all 32 teams in when we're not including all 32 teams? We're including the 12 best. Okay, so now we need a different set of analytical data points. We can't use the same ones. They don't just freaking transfer over. It's not all just a simple blanket, oh, the numbers say this, so that's what's right. You know? But we always just want that simple, easy answer. You know? There isn't. There's more than one way to get there. Always.
Well, and I think it gets really interesting when you get into these third games between divisional opponents.
Because of the chess element of it. Because of the chess element of it, man.
And shit gets super muddy, dude. These strategies and discussions and all of these things, they get super muddy, bro.
Yep. No, you're at a point in these types of matchups where you're almost in like an Inception type of a game. Where you're in a game, within a game, within a game. You know? We know what we like to do. We know what they like to do. We know what they're good at. We know what they're not good at. They know what we're good at, what they're not good at. They're probably going to do this because they know this and that we know this. It is like it just becomes this big freaking loop of, well, you know what I know, what you know that I know.
That's exactly
you know.
Yep. And so I'm going to do something crazy.
Yep. So there's a uniqueness to it, and you can't just use the blanket statistics or odds
and
or whatever.
Stafford
all the
gets
time.
sacked on 2nd and 11 at his own 20.
That's not the worst thing in the world. They're still in easy field goal range.
The clock is still going to run.
Forces the Niners to either time out or let the clock run.
It's going to let the clock run or charge a timeout. So what's interesting
That's
here...
not the worst thing in the world.
He missed that
big
arm.
whiff. That would have been big. Game of inches in more than one ways. Havenstein is one of the best right tackles in all of football. And he showed it on that play there, too, pancaking his dude in pass protection.
Is what's interesting here, you guys, is that it's 3rd and 18 at the 49ers' 19-yard line. They can get a first down without scoring a touchdown.
Yes, they can. That is a great variable.
So they are in 4th down territory. And they got themselves 11 yards.
It'll be 4th and 7.
No, sorry.
And they are taking the field goal to go up by 3, I would think, and putting it on their defense.
They got themselves 7 yards. It's 4th and 11. Or 4th and 10. They're going to kick this field goal, which I'm not against this idea because, again, I don't think Jimmy G can drive down the field.
That's what and given the reduction in time, home field advantage, maybe, even though they're both California, I completely agree from a decision-making coaching standpoint with what the Rams are doing here, how they handled this, how they took shots without taking risks, realizing that, hey, we can call a play where if it works, it's a touchdown. If it doesn't work, it's a sack, but we still get 3 points. You know, that is very good risk-reward management from the coaching standpoint.
And it's good.
As well as clock management. It's not just clock management.
All right.
By 3 minute 46, that's a ton of time for anybody to get a field goal.
Jimmy G.
Especially, I think they have 2 timeouts. I think the Niners have 2 timeouts remaining.
Jimmy G, you got 2 timeouts. Patrick Mahomes, a week ago, had 13 seconds to say, hold my beer.
Yep.
You got 146. Are you man enough? This is what it boils down to. Every single kid has begged for this opportunity since he's been in 4th grade. Lining up on the schoolyard.
Yep.
It's 4th quarter. 1 minute and 46 seconds left to go. He's got 1 timeout. Niners are down by 3 points. They're about to receive the kickoff. Can you drive the fucking team down the field? You're on the road, down by 3, 1 timeout, 1 minute and 40 seconds left. This is exactly what every child has dreamed about.
Absolutely. And here's what I want to bring up is with everything that we've been talking about today, there's more than one way. There's more than one right answer. There's more than one path to success. Okay, so if you're
That's
looking
not true. There's only one path to success. It's called touchdown.
No, they can win the game with a field goal in overtime. We saw the Bengals do that. But where the fuck was I going? Okay, so anyway, situationally, if you're the Niners, to me, there's 2 ways you can approach this that are both decent plans for success. You can go with we're just going to come out here since we got 1 minute 46, expecting the defense to give us 5 to 15 yards on every play. We're going to find it and we're going to take it. And we're just going to work that down the field, at least get our field goal, and maybe have a couple good shots at the end zone where we're only 20 yards out or so.
Jimmy G had a shotgun.
Or the other way to do it,
it's tapped at the line of scrimmage.
Or the other way to do it is you are just trying to hit one big play every 3 plays. Every 3 to 4 plays, you just got to hit one big one for 15, 20 plus yards. When you've got a Deebo Samuel, when you've got a George Kittle, that becomes a much more doable option than if you don't have pieces of that caliber.
Matt, to me, let's get you a Super Bowl.
The Niners have 2 ways to go about this. The longer it takes them to gain yards, the more they're forced to go the big play route than the
Jimmy G had a shotgun.
Route.
He's got a running back to his left. He's got 2 wide receivers right. 2 wide receivers left. He's got 1 right. Tight end offset. He's got plenty of time. It's a weird offset screen pass. That's not a real screen pass. That's an offset screen pass, meaning there was no blockers to his side. They're going to run the hurry up.
Odd
Jimmy
thing to
G's
me on
bringing
that
up,
side,
it's going to be
Kittle
13
was kept into chip block, did not even get sent downfield on a
right,
route.
and nobody blitzed
Very
on
odd.
his side also. Nobody
Yep.
blitzed on
Yep.
his side.
Yep.
Jimmy G drops
Completely
back on
wasted
3rd and 13. He's
Avoids
going to
the
avoid the
pressure
sack. He's going
for
to
a while. Shovel
Wild
passes,
throws
it's picked
intercepted.
off the tip.
The Rams are going to the Super Bowl. The Rams are going to the
That's
Super
it.
Bowl. It's over. It's over. Mathematically, it is over.
Without
It's
a fumble,
over.
without a fumble,
no,
they can't.
One kneel,
But
timeout.
You can fumble a center exchange between a center and a
Okay,
quarterback.
fair.
That's why I said just without a fumble.
Barring a freak fumble
Yes.
from center to quarterback exchange, the
It's over.
LA Rams are going to the Super Bowl.
Congratulations, Matty Stafford. What a gutsy
Is this Von
decision.
Miller? This is Von Miller right here. Watch
What
Von
a
Miller.
gutsy
Left
decision
side.
by Jimmy
Look at Von
G.
Miller. Stays on the play. Von Miller comes up. Von Miller is the one who completes that rush.
That looked like all Aaron Donald to me.
No, it's
99,
Aaron Donald and Von
99,
Miller.
99, 99.
Von Miller's right there on top of it.
Von Miller never touched him, though.
No, but Von Miller.
Donald
I'm
threw
not
him to
going
the
argue
ground.
about this.
Donald threw him to the ground, and Von Miller never ever actually put his hands on the quarterback.
It's a combo sack. It's a combo
and there was
sack
a third
fumble.
person in that combo sack. There was at least 3 defenders involved in that combo sack,
That's an
creating the
incredible
pressure,
play.
forcing the quarterback to move to where the other defenders were.
OBJ is the luckiest and most undeserving piece of shit in the NFL.
That's a great point. I love it. That's a great point.
Kyle. Okay, for the Super Bowl. Okay, so he said all day he's been like 20 seconds ahead of us trying not to spoil the game. All right, now listen, Kyle. On the Super Bowl is what you got to do is you got to pause your game for that 20 seconds and then time it up with us. That way we're in a live reaction because we're going to do a Super Bowl show. We're going to skip the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
so we're not here for the Pro Bowl. Because the Pro Bowl is also like an all-day bullshit event. It's dumb. But we're going to be here for the Super Bowl. We're going to do something cool.
One more kneel will do it. Yep, and that's why McVay's holding up the finger one more. Don't celebrate yet, guys. I know you want to. And you'll get to. But we got one more play to run.
That guy's a year younger than me, and he's already coached
and
his
this
team
guy,
to 2
look
Super
at
Bowls.
his face. You can tell that he respects, is not only aware of, but is aware of and respects that 0.000001% chance that something could still go wrong yet. He is a man that is still in the moment, not ahead of himself, taking things step by step. I love to see that in anybody in a leadership role.
And he goes straight to his quarterback.
Yep.
He goes straight to his quarterback.
Yep. The guy that he gave up a ton to bring in because he believed that that was the missing piece. Was a better quarterback.
What a couple of games, guys. Scotty, thank you for being here for this.
Dude, thank you for having me for this.
This is a
man.
blast,
You kidding
dude.
me? I don't know if I can watch football any other way again.
This really was unreal, man. This is fun. I mean, we've been doing these for a while now, and it's definitely more fun when somebody's in studio. No disrespect to you, Patrick, if you're watching online. You know, I love doing these remotely with you, but in studio is a different vibe, dude.
For sure.
This is definitely the way it's supposed to be done.
Absolutely.
In studio. These are great. I hope you guys enjoyed this, man.
Yep.
This was incredible.
That's a nice shot of Odell and Debo there, too, on the sideline with Odell, the vet, clearly making an conscious effort to go pass respect on to the young guy. Who,
that's really nice of you to say.
Admires his skills.
Odell's a piece of shit. Fuck that guy.
Absolutely, but that doesn't mean that pieces of shit can't still do non-piece of shit things from time to time. But
listen,
yeah,
man, this isn't The Walking Dead. This isn't The Walking Dead. People don't suddenly redeem themselves. OBJ's a piece of shit.
Everybody's a piece of shit, dude.
All right, I'm picking Rams for the Super Bowl. I'm picking Rams for the Super Bowl. I'm cheering for the Rams for the Super Bowl. I would love to see Joe Burrow and the Bengals win, but I cannot cheer for a team to win the Super Bowl before the Vikings win their first Super Bowl.
Everything in my
So I
brain
have to
says
go
the
Rams.
Rams.
I have to go Rams.
Everything in my brain says the Rams should win this game. There's
Plus-
not one thing in my brain that just unbiasedly says, "Oh, the Bengals should win this game." No, there's not one unbiased
Especially
thought.
with that O-line.
There's not one unbiased thought anywhere in my head that says, "Yeah, no, the Bengals should win this game."
Especially with that
Aaron
O-line.
Donald should be the first defensive Super Bowl MVP that we've seen in a couple years. He should have like 5 freaking sacks, absolutely destroy that line, put Stafford and company on the other side of the field to start half or more of their possessions, and just make it real easy for the
You mean
Rams
Burrow.
offense. Excuse me. But no, I really think that's where the matchup analysis for the Super Bowl starts, at least, is Aaron Donald and this Rams defense versus the Bengals O-line.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you
I
nailed
think
it.
that's where the analysis should start. That's not saying that's all of it, but that's where it should start. Because if the Bengals can't at least survive that, then I don't see them having a chance. But
No,
if
I think you're right,
they just got to survive. They just need to find a way to weather that storm that is Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
If they can weather it, then the individual talents of guys like Burrow and Chase and T. Hig and Mixon can do their thing.
Do you see how fast?
and put
Do
them
you
in the
see how
chance to win.
fast we disregarded Von Miller though? That's what bugs me. That's exactly what most people would go. All right, listen, we got to just like take control, Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
No, you don't. You also have to worry about Von Miller.
See, I disagree. Respectfully, I respectfully disagree. I do think that Von
Don't
Miller.
pretend you respect me, you piece of shit.
I didn't say you. Your opinion on this. Your take on
Don't
this.
pretend you respect my opinions.
I said I
you
respect
piece
your
of shit.
take on this, not you.
I still
But
think you're a horrible person. But you might be speaking truths about football.
I feel that Donald is the Jordan and Miller is a Pippen and not even the Pippen. The Pippen is Ramsey. So, like,
Maybe.
Miller, you're not even the Pippen, let alone the Jordan. You're probably more realistically the Horace Grant or the Dennis Rodman or the Steve Kerr with 10 seconds to go down by 2 hitting the 3. That's your role on this team if this team is a champion. Okay? And so to me, if you're not having to focus on Aaron Donald, the opportunities for Miller aren't going to be there. Whereas if you can shut down Donald, then you can shut down Miller too. But if you can't shut down Donald, everything opens up for all those defenders. Where now you got to commit a second guy to him, which means dude only needs to miss a half a step and he's getting beat by Vaughn next play. So like that's just where I think it starts there. It's by no means everything. But just that's where it starts. It's because his needing to be accounted for creates so many playmaking opportunities for the Von Millers of this Rams defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong, dude. I'm just thinking about fantasy football
A little
next year
bit of the
already.
Corey Littleton effect. If you knew Corey Littleton, their linebacker, before he went left via free agency, little bit of that effect. Where like, dude, you look at this guy's stats and productions playing linebacker behind Aaron Donald, and holy shit, he's like all pro. You go send him somewhere else in anybody else's scheme that doesn't have Aaron Donald, and he's just average. He's decent. He's good, but he's not a game-changing, type of player in any way. And so just that's one recent example that I use to kind of arrive at that opinion as well. But
see, and that kind of goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the podcast is how competitive are you, right? So like if you're competitive and you care about winning, you take less money to stay behind Aaron Donald. If you just want to make as much money as you can and pay for your family, which is also respectable.
Yep.
Generational wealth, that kind of shit.
Yep.
Then you take those paychecks.
Yep.
And you sacrifice winning. But again, that comes down to
I
how
agree.
competitive are you?
I agree. The only exception I would put to that is are you going that other place in it from a competitive mindset that you heard everybody else giving the other guy credit for what you were doing, and you want a Tom Brady-esque prove, no, I didn't succeed and wasn't great because of this other guy. I succeeded and was great because I'm great. So that's why I want to just separate myself and do my own thing.
No, I think you're right, dude.
You know, just another possibility.
I think you're right, dude. Well, listen, fucking, let's jump into some questions here.
Yeah,
we can kill this.
Sweet.
We can kill this feed. We don't need this feed up anymore because the games are over. We don't need to watch the post game. We'll just get rid of this entire thing altogether. And that means we can bring this down here. And now we can read chat. Boom. There we go. So this is chat, and it's coming from both Twitch and YouTube. Everything here on the right side. And we are current. So I got to take a leak. Go ahead.
Sure. Cool. All right.
If you guys got questions, we can drop into Vikings. We can drop into Super Bowl. We can drop into whatever you guys want.
Kyle's not buying my nut spatula either. That's all right, man. It's
Well,
only
it was
a
a terrible
prototype.
idea.
It's only a prototype. It hasn't even gone into production yet.
No, it was a horse shit idea.
I know. Oh, man. Oh, jeez. Oh. Kyle is picking Bengals for the Super Bowl. Ballsy, and I like it. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I like it. Let's see what else we got. I think the Rams will win too, but I would be hurt if my Birthtown Bengals. Yeah, it wouldn't be hurt if my Birthtown Bengals win though. Absolutely. I mean, it's hard. I think that's one nice thing being like a Vikings fan and valuing what most, or I think a lot of us, I guess I should say, value as Vikings fans is just that loyalty and that resilience, that no matter how many times you've fallen short or been knocked down, that you keep getting back up and you keep going and you keep putting your best foot forward wherever it ultimately lands you. I think that both of these teams have an element of that. Obviously, the Bengals from an organization and a franchise standpoint have that. And then on the Rams side, I think you've got individual players like a Stafford who fit that mold as well. So I definitely see where Vikings fans and what Vikings fans tend to gravitate towards as far as what generates their cheers and not would like either of these teams in the Super Bowl. Rams in the Stafford story or Bengals and the never winners, lifetime underdogs type of thing. So I think this is a very Minnesota Super Bowl where whoever wins, most of us will be cool with it. But I would definitely agree that the Rams should be the betting favorite to win the game outright going into it. We often see that team not win the game, but for what it's worth, they should have a good 5.5 point spread or so, I think, as favorites going into this. And honestly, a Super Bowl spread is one of the rarest and truest spreads that you'll get in NFL football, because typically speaking in NFL football, 3 points in the point spread is attributed strictly to the home team for home point advantage. Whereas in the Super Bowl, that 3 points is completely not factored into the Vegas spread at all, since the game is conducted on a neutral field with no true home team. So I don't know. A little tidbit there.
All right, we're going to see if we can open this up to the Facebook and to the Twitter. Oh, look at that. It worked. We are now live on Facebook and Twitter for the NFC AFC Championship Weekend post-game report, where we are officially fucked up.
Bengals Rams. Who the hell had that going into the season for the Super Bowl?
I picked Rams.
Yeah, I think a lot of people liked the Rams.
I picked Rams when Stafford went there.
Yep.
And I did. I picked Rams over Bucks. I really did. I'm on record.
Yep.
Suck it.
And that happened.
But
the
I did
Rams
not-
defeated the Bucks in the
But
playoffs
I
on
did
the way to the Super Bowl.
I did not, nor did anyone pick the Bengals. If you pick the Bengals, you're lying, or you're a Bengals fan and you took them on a flyer because Vegas had them on great odds.
Or possibly a time traveler.
Marty McFly up in this motherfucker
That's
with
right.
the Sports Almanac.
That damn right, the Sports Almanac. You know it.
If you Sports Almanac this motherfucker, tell me what to do next year.
Yeah, yes. I will keep your secret. I promise. Share some of the wealth.
For real, though, that's what I want to know is, like, if you Sports Almanac this motherfucker, I want to know what to do next year. Who are the teams next year?
Just give me, like, the defensive rookie of the year next year or something. Like, you ain't even got to give me the Super Bowl winner.
No, fuck that. I want the goddamn Super Bowl winner.
You know.
I want the Super Bowl winner this year. If you got the Sports Almanac from Back to the Future.
You know what the payout odds of a second, third, or fourth round defensive draft pick winning the rookie of the year pay? You know what that payout is? Way more than any of the freaking teams you could pick to win the Super Bowl.
No
like,
shit.
Even the lowest. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The odds are astronomical. I want to say second round pick Trayvon Moehrig, safety for the Raiders this year, was like plus 2,700.
Wow.
And that's like the best safety in the draft. Second round pick.
So that's 200.
So like if it's a year where some fifth round linebacker or some shit ends up getting it, that payout's at like a plus 6,000.
Crazy.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, like you ain't even got to give me the Super Bowl. Like just give me like Coach of the Year or D-Roy or just something obscure.
Yeah. Don't even worry about those things that are way easier and lesser odds. Give me the most extreme thing you could possibly
Just give
predict.
me one of them. Just give me one of them. Yep.
Man,
And then I'll place 5 other wrong bets around it to disguise it. Like, no, that was just my thing. I took 5 guys this year, put $100 on each of them. Mm-hmm.
I got to say, these last 2 weeks, I'm worried about the rules, dude. I'm worried about the rules. I'm worried about officiating. I'm worried about how they're doing the deal because I'm worried that in 5 to 10 years, I just won't even like the game or the sport anymore because it's just basically impossible to play defense.
Okay.
However, last week and this weekend, I think are the 2 greatest weekends of football we've been able to witness in modern history since 2000.
Yep.
These games have been
at
pure.
the very least, recent memory.
They've been pure. They've been competitive. They've been fairly officiated. They come down to the wire. I mean, what more do you want, right?
Yep. They're not decided by controversy. Absolutely. I think I don't disagree with you though that there is like a potential kryptonite or problem in the areas that you cited. And in my opinion,
by the way, the Rams will be the second team in NFL history to play their own Super Bowl at their home stadium.
Nice.
I also don't
2
like
years
this.
in a row.
I don't like this.
Second team ever and 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I don't like this.
Yeah.
I don't like this thing that's suddenly happening now where teams are playing the Super Bowl at home. I don't like it.
It never happened, and now it's just the thing.
Yeah, and it could have been the Vikings in 2017.
We could have started
it.
It could have
been
started
us. It wasn't us. No, God damn it. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I don't like that either. I very much like the Super Bowl being held at, a neutral site, as true to neutral as you can be. But at the same time, I mean, you got to schedule it somewhere ahead of time, and some team plays there. There wouldn't be a stadium there in the first place, and I don't know. I don't care for it, but I don't have a problem with it. But I think in regards to like your reffing and rules concern, for me, one of the most sensible approaches to try to correct that or get that turned in the right direction is to develop a system and a program where more former players go into being professional NFL referees when their playing career is done.
Mm-hmm.
Why are there not more former players as current NFL referees? Can you name any? Are there any? I don't know. You know how many?
It's got to be a money issue.
You know how many are commentators?
Issue.
You know how many are commentators or analysts or something like that? Like half of them. Like, they all just get handed the freaking job if they want it when they get out of the league. None of them go into refereeing. We need their athleticism, first and foremost, to be in the places they need to be, to see the things they need to see, and their understanding of how the moving pieces work intricately. And then as well as just their discretion of knowing, I'm a player. This is how the game should be played. This is ticky-tacky. This is something that needs to be called.
Those are great.
Knowing and understanding the difference, okay? So to me, that's like the most obvious or sensible first step. I'm not saying it's a cure-all or fix-all or even guaranteed to work, but it's something that should at least be pursued from a research and an effort standpoint. And then take it one step further and get more former player representatives or even current player representatives in the rooms for those off-season rule discussion meetings, so that it's not just all decided by people who aren't currently playing the game.
Sure.
Let the people who are currently having to abide by these rules have a voice in the room when the decisions are made. Don't give them the decision-making power, but make sure they have an equal and appropriate voice in the conversations that lead to the decision-making. I think those are the two places that the NFL needs to start to remedy your concern, which I feel. I see it and feel it going that way too.
Yeah, I think just too much of it has gone to protecting offensive players.
Absolutely.
To the point where they're compromising the integrity of the game, right? Because the whole point of like being a receiver going over the middle and getting your head checked, that's literally part of the strategy.
Yep. And the amount of which that play is called, the amount of contact and violence is factored into that. All of these things work together. Okay, like they're interwoven pieces, or they're all dominoes. They all one affects the other, affects the other. You know, and so what you're starting to see, and what you're going to continue to see, is just a whole lot of 40-something, 40-something, 50-something, 40-something, 50-something, 50-something.
I cannot wait to get Pete Burcich on this podcast.
What we've seen in the NBA over the last 10 to 20 years, where games our entire childhood, from the time we were 0 to the time we were 20, 25, somewhere in there, pro basketball games, especially playoff pro basketball games, ended with a score of 90-something to 80-something, or 103 to 96. Those are your third quarter final scores in the majority of regular season NBA and postseason NBA games nowadays, and have been, and just progressively inched further and further and further down that line. The NFL is doing the same thing with their rules, where it's just going to keep increasing the average total score of the games year after year after year after year, until, like, who knows what defense is even valued at, you know, or if a defender can even make a living 20 years from now in the NFL, if all the games are at that point are 75-68, you know, like, I mean, but more than anything, it comes to the integrity of the game, of the competition, of the contest, you know, that you spoke to. And that's where, in my opinion, you have to keep things even from an offensive and defensive standpoint, as far as the advantages and disadvantages and what you have to abide by for expectations and things like that. And the NFL is definitely in a potentially dangerous area of just being way too consistently over-favoriting the offense and everything offense.
And that's what I'm afraid of, is them becoming the Major League Baseball.
They still need to maintain a balance between those two sides of the game.
And baseball, the league of baseball, Major League Baseball, MLB, got too obsessed with the offensive side of the game. They started compromising the integrity of their game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think...
And I was really caught up into it when the whole Maguire-Sosa stuff was going on.
Oh, it actually happened before that.
Yeah.
It actually started before that.
But that was like one of the most publicly well-known peaks of what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. That's just why I meant.
But it actually started way before that. It actually started right around the same time as the players' strike in 1994.
Yes, bingo. Yep, bingo.
Where it didn't matter as to how well the game was being played anymore. The way the Japanese and the Koreans play it nowadays.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
There's a reason they win the World Classic.
Uh-huh.
And we don't.
Mm-hmm.
Because we started worrying, and this is my fear of American capitalism in sports, is we start worrying more about making money and selling tickets than we do about the way the game is being played on the field.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of people, including you, and I'm going to call you out for a minute, but I'm not attacking you.
Okay.
There's a lot of people, including you, that say it's entertainment more than it's
That's where I was
sport.
going to go. Yep, and I'll still go there. Yep.
Okay, fine. It's entertainment more than it's a sport, as long as everyone agrees that it's more entertainment than a sport. But the moment one team decides it's a sport and not entertainment, they are going to be champions where the rest of you become radical failures.
Sure.
Radical failures.
Absolutely.
Not just you don't win, radical failures.
Yep.
So when you get a Bill Belichick, that it's not about selling tickets.
Yep.
It's about winning. And guess what sells tickets more than anything else?
Winning.
Winning.
Mm-hmm. No disagreement.
So when we invert these polarities, when we invert this thought process and go to the way the Koreans and the Japanese play baseball in the World Classic, or the way the Patriots play football in the NFL, you get a consistent winning culture. You get a guy who's a rookie quarterback who brings your team to the playoffs.
Yep.
That's unheard of.
Well,
that's unheard of. But the teams who are worried about selling tickets over winning championships,
yes,
maybe make the playoffs. Maybe they make a run to the championship game every 10 years, like the Vikings.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but they never win a championship because they don't understand the difference between profitability and being a true champion.
Here's where I want to combine the two things that you're talking about. For the most part, Americans have, or at least are better equipped to get to a perspective of viewing the football industry or product as entertainment. They are not wrong. They are 100% right. That said, looking at and addressing the integrity element of the contests and the competitions and the sports, like Japan and what you've mentioned recently, those people, they realize the same thing. It's entertainment. But what they have gone a step further to realize is that competitive integrity makes for the best, most consistent entertainment. If we have integrity as a consistent part of our product will consistently be entertaining. If we do not make integrity a fundamental week after week, day after day, show after show part of our product will not consistently be entertaining. And our product will decline. Our revenue will decline. Yeah. Our means to do what we want to do will decline. So again, like you do still have a bit of interwoven, type of stuff going on where, like,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
Ultimate success is a marriage of both philosophies, not an adoption of one and a rejection of the other.
Sure. So is what I would say is if you go too far one way, you end up with Moneyball, right?
Yes.
Sure, you're profitable, but you ain't winning shit.
Yes.
And if you go too far the other way, you end up with a team that's super competitive, cool,
but nobody cares. It's not interesting. It doesn't captivate me. Yep, exactly. So you've got to find a way to grab both of those things, put them together, and move forward with a joining of that, both integrity and entertainment, realizing that they go hand in hand. Like, if one falls, the other will follow. It doesn't matter which one falls first. They're codependent.
And just in case anyone's curious or frustrated why I brought up baseball to compare to football, I brought up the World Classic and not the MLB for a very specific purpose. the World Baseball Classic doesn't have anything to do with salary caps. It like literally
It changes the equation.
And just to put this in perspective, like the teams who win the World Baseball Classic, which is essentially the Olympics of baseball.
Sure. Yep.
Having a big salary is literally irrelevant. It's completely a non-issue. It's actually kind of embarrassing.
I would say that
America
might be,
gets their asses kicked.
That might
in the
be a
baseball
regular
classic.
example too of where you've got team chemistry trumping individual skill. Because you've got hodgepodges of players from America who don't ever play with each other. They play against each other. Just like, okay, now for 2 weeks you're on a team. Figure it out. Or then you're going against these other people that like, no, this is what I do is I play for the national team of so-and-so. And we play how many games a year, and we've played together for the last how many years, and, we're a unit. But so just when talking about team endeavors, I just can't ever let chemistry be forgotten about, and I do think that plays a little bit of a factor.
We got a correction. Shout out to Patrick Olson. All right. Steve Freeman and Phil McKinley are former players and now NFL refs.
Okay, good deal. That's two people. That's great.
Hold on. That's Steve Freeman and Phil McKinney. And then, follow-up comment, Terry Killens and Nate Jones are two former players to ref as well.
Awesome.
So we got 4 already.
That's great.
That's just 4.
That's great.
That's 4 just off the top by 2 random people in chat.
That's
so
great.
There's a very good chance.
But are those the only 4?
No,
like
that's
there's
what I'm
16
saying.
crews a week.
That's what I'm saying.
7 guys a crew.
I refuse to believe that there's only 4 at this point. If there's 4 that these guys can come up with just that quick, I refuse to believe there's only 4.
Yeah, no, there's probably at least another 3 times, 5 times that many.
At least.
You would think.
I think you're onto something.
This is what I want, though. Like, I'm hoping that the NFL thinks that way as well. And if they are or have been, that's great, man. Yeah. Like, keep doing it. Keep doing it.
No, I think that makes sense. I think that makes total sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like, well, I mean, they've got an intricate freaking experience-based understanding of the game and the rules, and they've got the physical tools to keep up with the pace of it. Like, it just makes sense to me.
Well,
I'm not saying they all got to be freaking, Hulk popping out of their ref shirt, Ed Hockleys or whatever.
We need more Ed Hockleys.
I like Ed Hockley.
We need more Ed
Hockley.
His kid refs now?
No, that's sweet. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I think his name's Ted.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true. I'm making that.
That
up.
would be great. I wish it is. I hope it is.
But I'm pretty much 100% sure. Pretty much 100%. So like 99% sure that Ed Hockley's kid is also reffing now.
That is awesome.
And Ed Hockley was a beast.
Uh-huh.
He was a gym rat. He was a lawyer, which is why no one could ever argue with him, ever.
I always respected and appreciated his demeanor.
Man, Ed Hockley.
Always.
Ed Hockley.
Whether I agreed with his calls or not, I always respected and appreciated his demeanor.
If we get more Ed Hockleys in the NFL, I think it'll save the sport.
Absolutely.
All right, you got anything to wrap this up with?
Not really, other than that I had a fantastically fun time.
Me too, brother.
Here today.
Rams, Bengals, let's see you back in 2 weeks.
I will be here in 2 weeks. Hopefully you guys will be too.
Yeah, we'll see you back in 2 weeks. This has been a blast. Thank you guys very much. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know the drill. It's YouTube. Everybody knows their jobs. We love you guys. We're out of here.